Good morning, my friends. TheFreind here, and today we have yet another Talents Overexplained video. This time we are featuring E.T.C, and I'm joined by the magnanimous Damaomao.
Hello, hello.
Now, Mr. Damaomao is one of the best ETCs on the server, and he was more than happy to help me film this about ETC, so I'm very pleased to see him here. Damaomao, tell us, how long have you been playing ETC?
Oh, let's see. I'm sure for a very long time.
Let's see
I
here.
think maybe past 10 years or more or so, but yeah. Ever since I started enjoying the tank role, I think I end up with ETC as my favorite tank to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like from 2018 and 2019, I start to see the ETC. And it quickly balloons out of control.
Yeah.
Oh my. That's a lot
I
of
think
ETC.
back then he was a little bit weaker too because his Q range I think got buffed or speed.
Ah.
Some of them got buffed later down the line, but yeah, he was a little bit harder back then too. But he just provides so much fun when you figure it out.
Mm-hmm. I can't agree more. There is very few thrills as either a strong engage or a mosh pit. Everybody knows what a good mosh pit looks like, so you make it work. To me, ETC is immensely boring until I get to level 10 and then I finally wake up, but that's my personal preference.
Yeah. For me, Mosh it's the strongest skills if you don't use it. But we can talk about that later when we get to the heroics.
Absolutely. You're right about that. But yeah, this is Damaomao here, sporting an 80% win rate over almost 2,000 games for like 7 years, and he himself has been playing for 11 years, so he's seen it all. And honestly, I'm very impressed by the ETC. It always feels oppressive to play against and feels very useful on your team. And specifically, what is it that ETC brings to the table? ETC is a kind of a simplistic hero. However, he has a lot of nuance that roundabouts him into being really good back at high elo. So you tend to see him picked up pretty frequently in competitive. And he's also a great addition to any team in the low elo brackets. He has very reliable CC that synergizes with a lot of AoE CC due to his power slide. And he just plays as a disruptive tank that has a lot of talents that fill the things that he needs a little bit of help with. He doesn't really specialize in anything super hard, but he's not really countered by anything super hard either. So, best of both worlds there. How would you summarize that?
Yeah, I feel like ETC have the most reactive CC. Like everything he does, it's pretty much instantaneous. A lot of another tanks, I enjoy ETC the most is because another tanks either CC or engages have a wind up. Like either Garrosh have to walk into range, toss you or kill you, or Blades have like a 1 second charge before he even start traveling down to stun your team, or the Stitch's hook is like very telegraphed or slow. So, everything ETC does, you press the button. If you're in the correct position at the correct time, people will get engaged on or like stunned. So that's like if you have a good reaction, or if you know how to like mentally count enemies heroes cooldowns, you can pretty much like react to whatever they do if you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good way of saying it. I've seen from experience that honestly, ETC, you have to smurf on the enemy team a little bit for it to really work out. And you need perfect timings on the abilities. The tip you give that just tracking the enemy cooldowns, like if you know the Diablo charges every 12 seconds, you can kind of anticipate that ahead of time. The Muradin jump is every 10 seconds, and then you just count down in your head until it's about that time. And if the pressure allows it, maybe they use it right away on cooldown. And that's when you put a stop to it. But it's ETC's highest skill expression comes from the fact of you instantly denying something that the enemy team was about to do. I totally agree with
Yeah,
that.
yes. Yeah, it's surprising sometimes like how often you stop multiple enemies like most potent skills. And yeah, you, like say sometimes it's tracking the cooldowns of their skills, sometimes it's tracking their health. Like
Hmm.
some player, you notice they only do a certain movement skill or like a like healing skill when they're at a certain threshold of HP. So you just
Hmm.
you hold on to your skill until you see their little animation, or you see they're
Hmm.
at like 25% HP and they're about to get away, thinking they're free. And that's when you use everything.
It's actually a really good tip too. Nice. I think that's the. Is it me or is that the simplicity of ETC? And then suddenly like, oh well, I don't need to use my brain for these abilities. I can just focus on the enemy team more and then counter them exactly so.
Yeah, it's more for ETC. It's mostly about positioning and tracking
Hmm.
which target it's your most important to interrupt, because he
Yeah.
can only do engage or disengage. He have really long
Hmm.
cooldowns, so he can only do one of them, and then he's just running around the field for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way with Jaina, where generally speaking, like it feels so comfortable to me that I can just very easily keep track of everything else. And then when it comes time to engage, you have your eyes on everything else. Like I'm not worried about whether or not I will land the combo right in front of me. It's pretty easy. Right now, my eyes are instead focused on everything else around. Where is the garage? Because I know as soon as I drop this combo and I commit to the engagement, I will get punished if I don't see that garage. Like this presence of mind when you become comfortable enough with the hero is a really important thing. And ETC, I think, is probably one of those heroes that needs it more than others.
Exactly, yeah. And he have one of the lowest HP as a tank. He really
Mm,
relies on position and like pacing out his each abilities to be a real tank.
absolutely. Speaking
Yeah,
of,
if they
sorry about that. Please continue.
Oh yeah, like if he got chain CC'd or he got like hard engaged on which he couldn't move or use any abilities, he just melts so
Hmm.
fast.
Yeah, there's this famous clip of I think HotS player Mopsio where he stage dives directly into a Battlefield of Eternity Immortal Stun, like the little circle he puts on the ground, and then he gets deleted immediately afterwards.
Right. Anything prevents ETC from moving or using abilities, he just not a tank anymore for that
Hmm.
brief period. Yeah.
And I think we should explain why that's the case. And I suppose we'll do ETC's first entry into the abilities. Rockstar, his trait. Using a basic ability will grant ETC 25 armor for 2 seconds, and heroic abilities grant him 50 armor instead. This is a cornerstone of ETC. It's a really good trait, all things considered, and this is what gives ETC his beef. He doesn't have the highest health, like you say, but he does have that armor, which really makes it possible for him to do these engages and kind of get away at a slightly more advantageous level than what he would have otherwise.
Yeah, you're right. The armor is what really makes him feels like a tank. Like that's why um, the difference between a good ETC player and a new ETC player is how they put themselves in front of the enemies. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you see a new ETC player, they just like walk around the enemy DPS and get poked down freely without using
Mm-hmm.
any abilities. And by the time they try to queue in, they're either like below 50% HP or they don't
Mm.
have the correct positioning, and then they just get blown up like right after. He's only a tank when you see the little 25 armor tickling down his HP bar. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's when you should be in the midst of the fights.
Makes sense. Is there any tips you'd give out to those ETCs that are running around, all willy nilly for the rockstar value?
Yeah, ETC it plays similarly to me like a Nubarak. And that's my like second
Mm.
second favorite hero to tank to play. It's like you really shouldn't, unless your team is in grave danger and or like there you need to block like a hook or block for like chromie looped combos, but
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't put yourself in range of any real danger until you see an opening that you're ready to go in. If you get freely
Mm-hmm.
poked, like you have to use your ability to escape, and then you're useless for a little bit. So like you really need to decide. Like before you decide to go in, you shouldn't be too close to the enemy team. DPS at least.
Very good points. I'll try to keep that in mind. I get a little bit complacent with like Murden blocks, and that I could just enter range and I don't really care because I got the block charges. More on that later with the traits block at level 1, which is really good. But yeah, simplistic trait. It kind of depends on your ability usage. So before we elaborate more on Rockstar, I think we need to enter the other abilities first. Do you want to move on now?
Yeah, one more thing about the passive. Because it gives you the armor for 2 seconds, and then so you really shouldn't use your QWE. Like you shouldn't use anything altogether. Like you should pace it out. Like E.T.C's attack speed is roughly 1 second. I think 1.25 seconds. So you can weave in two. It's funny because he's a music hero. He's like it's a cow holding a guitar. So when you play him, you should really be in like playing with the tempo. Like you slide in with your Q, and then you do 2 auto attacks if possible, and then you W to cancel some of their abilities, and then you do 2 more auto attack, and then you heal yourself. So the longer you keep your traits not overlapped, the better it is for you to like stay as a tank overall.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Guitar Hero in action in the game too.
Exactly.
Big difference between having like 2.5 seconds of 25 armor or 6 seconds of armor. So like Damaomao says here, space out those abilities.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for E.T.C's best basic ability, Power Slide. 60 mana cost, relatively moderate. 12-second cooldown, a little bit lengthy, but manageable. You slide in a direction, dealing okay-ish amount of damage, 105, and you stun everything you come across for 1.25 seconds. This is E.T.C's core ability. It's how you get into a fight. It's how you get out of a fight. And when you're entering a fight, you're stunning everything that you want to stun. As a tank, it's very important that you are aware of where your team is. If they're right next to you and they're ready to go, when you stun an enemy, you're going to have a lot of good results come out of that. Just be careful not to slide in before your team is ready to help you. Otherwise, you're behind them and you're not doing too much. Damaomao, please give us the power slide information.
It's one of the most oppressive engages. Like when you're walking around, when the enemy team sees you, like the good enemy players will see a big circle around you where they could not step in unless they're baiting you or they have some getaway. Like they should know, like if I get in range and you're not protected by your team, I will stun you and my team will blow you up. Yeah, and it's a really fast traveling skill, but it does get it could get stunned half mid travel, and then you will go on full cooldown. There's no wind up or like canceling the slide. You will just went on full cooldown and you will be stopped in track with any Murden Hammer, Rainer's push. I guess so. Yeah, just be careful which direction you slide in, and like I said, E.T.C is really afraid of chain CC. So yeah, and this is his only movement skill for both disengage and engage. So just use it carefully.
Yeah, when you go in, there really isn't too much to help you out from that point on, except your little Rockstar armor.
Right.
One thing to keep in mind is E.T.C has measurably more threats when he's up in your face compared to at range, because Power Slide, you have to travel the distance to do the stun. If you're right next to E.T.C, he effectively has an instant cast stun, which is really, really strong. And that's something you gotta keep in mind. But if you're at range, you can maybe juke it out, so it gives you a little bit more leeway.
Yeah, it's a lot of good player with heroes with some little movement speed can easily juke you out at max range. That's kind of frustrating. but like I say, the closer you are, the faster your stun gets on them. But you also have to be careful. The Q, if you don't get interrupted, the Q will always travel the maximum range. So you don't want to get too far. If you want to interrupt something else, they're gonna do after. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
like slide way past them, that will be outside either
Yeah.
the monster pit range or like your auto attack range. But yeah, that's and for that to be like one thing you can do to help that is either like slide into a wall, like
Mm-hmm.
or like the ETC queue, you might have to test it out, but the against wall traveling, it's really weird sometimes. Sometimes it curves perfectly, sometimes it's just like travel really short distance.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Ah. Hey, actually, one more thing about the power slide. We all know, like, when you want to power slide. Like, if the opportunity presents itself, I think everybody and their mother's going to go for that power slide onto, like, 3 enemy heroes. You know, if you see the opportunity, I think you should take it. Would there be a scenario where you choose not to power slide? Like, you're looking at something and you're like, okay, this I should definitely not power slide into.
Yeah, it's
Even if you,
mostly come down.
mm,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, even if there might be like something that's compelling you to power slide, but you choose not to either way.
Yeah, it mostly comes down to which target is the most important for the team to get rid of. Um, for the times I hold on to my power slide to not engage on, it's mostly because they either have a really good Genji or they have like a 0-2 or Medivh.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I know the target I slide on will get protected by Medivh and then portal out safely after, or the moment I slide in on one of the target and then there will be a Genji with nano boost and dragon
Mm-hmm.
blades on the back of my backline,
Yeah.
I can't really engage that game. I just have to rely on my team to do some poking before we start fights,
Mm, yeah.
or either bait out a greedy Genji or Zero to like to do some. They think they can get a little poked in, but then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they will get stunned.
Big time. Man, there is a lot to be said about you needing your team to kind of put in the work. Sometimes it's just not possible. It depends on like how ferocious your team's engagement is. If you have very strong engagement, like say you got Kerrigan in the midst, maybe Kael'thas, Imperius, etc., doing 100% health slide onto an enemy and then they follow up, it's usually enough for a kill. But in the instances where there is no extra CC, you really need to rely on your team to whittle down the enemies a little bit, and that puts them at lethality range if they make a mistake later on.
Yeah, I feel like ETC. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like ETC is the most threatening with the teammates around, and
Yeah.
he could barely do anything without the teammates. Like if he's really bad at wave clearing, he's really bad at like finishing off targets. Like if like by himself, like another tanks. Let's say if a garage toss someone in, and then he start like auto attacking you, like queuing you,
Mm-hmm.
and then decimating you. Like it's really hard for enemy heroes to get away and they will die like slowly. But if ETC doesn't have any teammates around, the enemy can just walk out like
Mm-hmm.
pretty
Totally.
safely after. Yeah.
Yeah, ETC is incapable of doing anything by himself. That's one thing you gotta watch out for. And is
Yeah.
Yeah, especially why you need to keep a. That's why you need 4 eyes as CTC. You need 2 on the enemy team so you can interrupt exactly what they're about to do, and there are like some telltale signs on what action they're about to do. And if you stun them or face melt them at the right time, you interrupt it, put it on cooldown. Really big advantage. But then there's also the 2 eyes behind you that you need to make sure that whatever you do, it's worthwhile when your teammates are around. If you stun somebody by yourself, nothing happens.
Yeah, and one other like a mental notes you have
Mm-hmm.
to have as a ETC player is like you will, if you know what you're doing, sometimes you will make your teammates miss a lot of skill shots.
Yeah. I
And people
Oh
will
man.
really easily flame you for it because they
Mm-hmm.
are only seeing the damage they missed or the perfect quest finishing they missed, but like
Mm.
they don't see the healed or like the ability skill I cancelled like in that moment. But yeah, you just have to be
Yeah,
ready to.
that's so true. It's a very embarrassing thing that I have to admit to. I definitely mess up a lot of combos with our next ability here, Face Melt. This is a 55 mana cost, 10-second cooldown. Deal a little bit of damage to everything around you, and you instantly knock them back away from ETC. This is kind of like the combo piece that comes after Power Slide usually, but in reality, it shouldn't be used exclusively for like the extra CC. Like it's so minuscule, it's a mini stun added onto the Power Slide, so you turn your 1.25 second and stun into maybe 1.5 seconds, but it has immensely more value if you use it as a defensive tool or peeling tool or an interrupting tool. But that does take some skill. Damaomao, how would you use Face Melt?
Yeah, to me, face melt is the bread and butter of a good ETC. Like the power slide is the most scary one, but sometimes you just like the situation is harder to use the slide, but the face melt it's the most fun. Like that's when you cancel a Genji dash, you stop a Murden jump, you cancel a Diablo charge, and they sometimes you do it so perfectly they don't even realize their skill went on cooldown. They don't see any animation, and they just stand there auto attacking, not knowing pressing their buttons. But that's the most like for me the face melt is most rewarding and hard to like master skill, but it's the most satisfying as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're totally right, and that's honestly the interruption. Well, if you cancel the ability, great. If somebody's trying to dash, that puts the ability on full cooldown, and you basically strand them in the middle of nowhere, and it's a blowout every time. When I'm playing Murden and I get power slid on, there becomes this mini game between me and the ETC player on when are they face melting me, and I am on
Yeah.
a ticking time bomb before the enemy team kills me, and I need to jump now.
Right,
And
right. It's really funny, especially yeah with the Murden player and yeah, mostly Murden because some players are greedy, some players are safer. You just have to do a couple tests in the beginning of the game and then like get their habits or like bait them into certain habits, and then hopefully you cancel their one of their important dashes later down the line. But yeah.
Yeah, great tip there. I think there's like a list of heroes that are that if so long as the travel speed of it is slow, some abilities are very easy to interrupt with face melt. For example, Murden's jump is one of the slower engages, like compared to a Diablo charge. The speed difference is very substantial. And canceling Murden is much easier. Other heroes like Yorel, another ETC, I guess. May, especially. Who else? Imperious Charge is usually pretty
Blaze
evident.
charge.
Blaze, big time. Yeah.
And one of the funny ones, the variant smash. Like
Yeah.
you just wait for the sound, you just wait for the sound cue, and then you press W. And then
hmm
they will only do the scream and with no armor reduction.
Oh, actually, good question. What's the first thing that enters your brain that registers that you need to use the face melt now? Is it the visual cues or is it the sound cues?
Mostly, mostly visual cues. If the ability have a this long wind up, like take a long time to start, you do the visual cues. For variants, smash, it's mostly sound cue, and but for what I mostly do, it's a mental tracking of their cooldowns, like I said, and the distance they are ready to use their skill. Because some players they click their skills when they're outside the casting range,
hmm
and then the hero the game will just automatically use that skill when they get in range.
hmm
So you can intentionally bait them into that range and then just press W right away. Like a Diablo charge, they see you from
hmm
a little bit far away. They
They
see you
start
against the
tracking you.
wall. Yeah, they press their Q on you and they just auto walking towards you. And then
Yeah.
so the moment you see them in range of the Q, you can press W and get a good cancel on them as well.
Great tip. Manipulate the game's engine a little bit and how it tries to automatically cast it.
Right, right.
What else? What else?
And there's some mobility skill that couldn't be cancelled, like the point to point. Like if you have to click somewhere and the hero dash or jump to that location, those you can cancel. But the one that you can change direction mid travel, you couldn't cancel. Like Morgana's sleep and Diva's Q charge. And the
Mm-hmm.
Sonya's spin, once they start moving and then they can still change directions, you couldn't cancel those with W.
Yeah. Those are channeling abilities, and face melt, although it does, and even though knockback effects do cancel an ability that is moving you from point to point, it does nothing to channel the abilities unless it's a stationary channel, in which case it does interrupt those. But if it's a mobile channel, it does not interrupt them, and those heroes get to
Right.
go away scot-free.
Yeah. You only push them, nudge them a little bit, and then they just continue whichever way they want to
Mm-hmm.
travel.
Yeah. Another tip for me. That tip, actually, no, I'm sorry. Your tip about mentally tracking the enemy, what they're about to do, is honestly the best way of getting better at face melt, because you doing a reactionary face melt is like 9,000 IQ ETC gameplay. That is very challenging to do. Really, what makes it much easier is if you have it in like the front of your mind and you know it's coming within the next half second. That's how you prime yourself to have your key ready on the W, and you see the first thing and you just press it. For example, like Bright Wing, Emerald Winds. Like if you see her step up randomly, like going in front of your team for some reason, you know she's about to use Emerald Wind. And as soon as you see the orange bar where she starts to channel, just face melt.
Yeah, and then both you and your teammates just have to get used to, because a lot of abilities in this game, even if they get cancelled, some graphic effects still shows up. The Emerald
Yeah,
Wind
yeah,
still,
yeah.
it will still blow up a little bit, but you just have to know there's nothing. There's no Emerald Wind. It's just a fake
Mm-hmm.
fake facade.
Big
You
time.
cancelled it correctly. Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool that you see like a little bit of the particle effects go off, but it doesn't go off fully. And same thing with the sound
Yeah.
effects, which is kind of cool. But you gotta watch out
Yeah,
for that.
might confuse your teammates. Sometimes they start running, but there's nothing going on really.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. Go
another
ahead.
trick you can use for face melt, it's step away from them a little bit. It's the opposite of the stun. Like you said, when you're close to the enemy, it's really easy to land the stun on them. It's when you couple step away from the target you try to interrupt with face melt, you have a longer time to see the visual and sound cues to cancel them mid-air.
True. That's actually really true. And, yes. Okay. I see what you're at. This gave me an idea for what was it? Loudspeakers on 4? Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
see. I
exactly.
see.
Yeah, yeah.
What else? With me, I power slide in, and then when I'm, just as the stun is kind of like wearing off, I tend to face melt enemies back into my team. Well, it's not a very big face melt, but it's just something I add extra on top of that. Activate Pinball Wizard, all that jazz. Is this good line of play for an ETC?
Do you have to? Your teammates have to pick the right heroes. Yeah, ETC really don't work that well with skill shot mages unless everybody
Mm.
knows what they're doing. But it's still
Mm-hmm.
harder than just lock on abilities. Will be like auto attackers will be so much easier. Yeah, like sometimes it just become a guessing game for your teammates. Like, is he gonna face melt? Is he not gonna face melt? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then ETC might get interrupted, and then like it's really
Mm.
harder for the teammates to cooperate if everybody's using skill shots.
Yeah, big time. I suppose in something like this, it's like a Diablo charge and a flip situation. It's probably best you communicate with the team, like what you plan to do, unless like there's a very good reason that you want to use face melt right away. I suppose it's best that you just hold on to it, either defensively speaking, or use it to interrupt something that might make the enemy either move or try to react in some way, and it allows you to do an instant interrupt.
Yeah, the best way, unless they have an instant dash they're trying to get away with, the best way to do it in the ideal situation, it's you wait a little bit, wait until they walk forward like one step, and then you push them back into the exact position you stun them at.
I see. Okay. Interesting tip.
But yeah, but if they're really cut out, like separating them from the team, from their team, and put them in between your team is the best way if you can do it like instantly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Very true. Face melt, very interesting ability. A lot of nuance to it. I think I'm out of ideas for the ability. Anything else to comment about?
No, that's about it until we get into the talents.
Very nice. Guitar solo. Thank God, something easy. spend spend 40 mana on a 9-second cooldown. Hey, just heal yourself up like I don't know, 250 health for over 4 seconds. Yeah, it's something you keep yourself topped off with. But more importantly, really, Guitar Solo is actually just Rockstar in disguise. It's just something you use freely to activate the armor. So try not to overlap the abilities like he says. Use it spread out a little bit after your initial combo with Power Slide. Or maybe you're just neutral attacking the enemy heroes. Guitar Solo lets you activate the trait for maximum value.
Yeah, it's a 9 second cooldown skill. It's still pretty long, but it's the shortest we got. So it's
Yeah, we gotta
like you
take it.
said, the best way to trigger the Rockstar ability.
Big time. Well, yeah, that's it. Moving on. Yeah, we got talents, but we're going to talk about guitar solo a little bit later, where it actually does get a little bit interesting. Let's talk about ETC's most exciting ability, Mosh Pit. 2-minute cooldown. Well, this is probably the harshest cooldown in the game. For an ultimate, 120 seconds is pretty brutal. I don't think there's anything higher than that. And after a 3/4 second delay, you start channeling and make everybody dance around you for up to 4 seconds. Yeah, no words need to be explained. Everybody has seen in Mosh Pit and what it can do. Yeah. How important is Mosh Pit to the overall game plan of E.T.C, would you say?
I would say it's. I'll I would say it will be this ability should be picked like 99% of the game,
Mm-hmm.
even if the enemy have 3 or 4 or 5 stuns that could interrupt you. Picking this make you infinitely scarier in stage dive unless the comp and the map needs it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, like, the existence of Mosh Pit also forces the enemy team to kind of change their own plans in order to address it. Like, sometimes Ming almost always goes repulsion, but the existence of Mosh Pit kind of forces her away from Laser, even if she really wants to do it. Say she's doing Aura build, for example. Laser, in my opinion, is much better than Pushback on that kind of build, but because of Mosh Pit, she has to do it. And the enemy team might also pick up other type of ultimates that are also stunts. You having this in your back pocket forces them to hold on to it, and they don't use it until really bad situations, like way past the points that you've shown you're not planning to use the mosh pit. You're kind of like baiting them. Again, another big mind game from the big ETC man here on how he's applying pressure and CC to the enemy team without doing anything. Like, that was the scam hero.
Yeah. I sometimes try to explain to people that plays ETC like in the ARAM, they got ETC in ARAM or something like. You don't have to use mosh pit. Like if you don't land a good mosh pit and you're just standing there dancing by yourself, it looks really bad, and you will feel like this ability is useless. But if you don't use it, the enemy will always have a mental block, like when they use their CC. Like what if I use like even you say like the Li Ming's push ability, the R, like she might not use it for her full combo to one shot your team because she's afraid the moment she use it, you will slide and dance, like make everyone dance, like the like half a second delayed or hesitation while they're comboing their abilities. Like we're not using our most important, most flashy ultimate, but they're holding on their 5 second stuns for like 20 seconds because of you.
Big time, big time. In my eyes, there's like 3 opportunities you use Mosh Pit with. One, start a fight. Say the enemy team is not aware of your position, and then they're all, say, on the rotation, and you're in the bush, and you randomly catch them. That's one opportunity where you can catch high priority targets within the Mosh Pit without being stopped. The second opportunity is exactly in the middle of a fight, where it develops a little bit, and then the enemy team starts to use their abilities, their stuns. There's a little bit less stuns going around, and there's a higher chance of whatever mosh pit you do, it will go through for its full channel. And then the last one, in my opinion, is kind of like end of fights. Ultimates have been used, so those have been pushed off the pallets, And typically, at some point, either the enemy team starts to rout, where they're all trying to run away together, or they start to chase after you twice as hard, and then you can do a sudden turn with a mosh pit. And you can suddenly, a very hard power slide that might hit at most 2 heroes, it might hit 4, and then that's when the mosh pit comes down. That's how I try to land my mosh pits. Obviously, there's much more nuance at play. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's pretty much you're pretty much nailed it. It's a really slow ability to start channeling and then like stationary for a long time. So if you don't engage on the right target, it's really easy for the enemy teams to interrupt you from the backline, either with their healer or with their DPS. Yeah, so the only, like you said, you really have to track what ability they already use in the fight. In the midst of the chaos, you have to find the one line that will lead to a good mosh, either on their only interrupter or when everybody's out of position, out of abilities, or like you said, sometimes you want your teammates get blown up right away, so the enemy start chasing. That's when I will ping. I have mosh ready. I have mosh ready, and then I will slow, intentionally run a little bit slower, closer to the enemy, and just get ready to do the comeback mosh if my teammates are ready to.
Oh, it's really devastating when that happens too. Counter engages are honestly twice as deadly as a regular gauge in some instances, because the enemy team's gonna let their guard down and they start forgetting about the positioning, and then they clump together. It's all over.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a 4v5 if the 5 enemy teams are all dancing so for 4 seconds. So it's
Exactly.
really really fun to when that happens.
Exactly. Um, I guess it really depends, like game to game, hero to hero, what abilities are. But if you can somehow isolate that, hey, the only people that have stuns available for me now are right next to me, and I see an opportunity to mosh pit them, and you capture them. Even if the other enemy team is trying to stop you, they can't because there's no interrupts. You identified the last heroes that have it, and you pull it off, which is substantially harder to pull off than what is said, because you gotta catch them, one, and two, you also need to track everything, and that is a lot of mental load being put onto the ETC player. Sometimes it's not possible for you to see everything.
Right, and sometimes the enemy team are so well coordinated they always have one CC available in the backline. So
Also very true.
and
Usually,
yeah,
apologize there. Usually, in high player games, you'll see a repeating. Oh God, system is shutting down in 30 minutes.
for the
Do you
game.
see? Do you see what I see? I saw a message
Oh yeah.
on chat. What the hell is that?
Yeah, there's the homepage. There says there will be update today at 10 a.m. So
Oh my God.
they already gave us some lead up so, of 30 minutes.
Oh God, another message.
We'll
Ah
be
boy.
fine. We'll be
We'll
fine.
be fine. If anything happens, we'll just pause the recording and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Where was I? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So in the in competitive play, there's going to be a player designated to interrupt the mosh pit, and they usually say who it is ahead of time, so everybody else can use whatever they do, and then they explicitly stay out of range of the ETC, so they don't get moshed, whatever the cost, so that they have it ready to stop it if it comes down. This is definitely something you need to communicate in your games, even if it's something you don't really want to talk about. Like, who wants to press the enter key in HotS in 2026? Not really a lot of people, which is kind of sad in Storm League, but yeah, it's gotta be done because Mosh Pit just demands that kind of attention. If it goes correctly for the ETC, it wins the game on the spot.
Exactly.
Any final words about our glorious Mosh Pit here?
Yeah, there are a lot of small tips I can share for this ability, like just in niche situations.
Yeah, give us the bullet point list here.
Yeah, one of them is a really fun thing I like to do. It's into Valera with smoke bomb.
Oh yeah.
The mosh pits is exact range, have the exact area of coverage of the smoke bomb. So if and a lot of Valera likes to like do a little poke and then jump in, and then they think they can get away for free with a smoke bomb and or do more damage, sometimes away from their teammates. And I will just stand in the middle of the smoke bomb and just start dancing. Like it will last
Yeah.
longer than the smoke bomb, and then they will be reviewed after and die.
A hard decision to make: do nothing or exit the smoke bomb, and suddenly you're vulnerable.
Yeah, most of the time they will not be ready to leave the smoke bomb. That's like their safe zone. They're yeah, and then they will just see. We can't see it, but we know they're dancing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and another one, it's with what is it, Tracer?
Mm-hmm.
And this is more niche, but it happens more often than you think. Like it's when they have a Tracer and Anduin. So
Explain.
if you land the Mosh Tracer, and most Tracer will just spam their Q and E, like or most of them will just spam their E. So even when the Anduin comes in range and pulls Tracer out, do not cancel your Mosh, because 90% of the time the Tracer will like spam E and blink right
my
back into the
God.
dance.
Oh, that's evil. Damaomao, you can't do that.
It happens more than you think. Like they will get cleansed, or they will get like pulled out safely, and then they will come right back in and keep dancing for the last second.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, now that you speak of it, whatchamacallit? Due to the Valir smoke bomb, it made me think. Moshpit is also really strong at contesting mercenary camps, in that, especially bosses. Like, everybody needs to get onto the point, or they're gonna do it to the death on an easy camp. You know, we see it all the time. Mosh gives you like supreme advantage in taking it over, and it kind of forces enemies to not enter you when the camp comes down. And even if you get stunned, it doesn't matter. You only need to be on it for 1.5 seconds, and then you capture it. Mosh Pit just stops the enemies short, even if they use some dashing abilities, with the exception of maybe some very few that have CC attached. You prevent them from moving in, and it's just a free capture most of the time. It's not as reliable as Holy Ground, but it's very strong in that case.
Yeah, it's a lot to commit, but if you can get a big face melt and push them off the point and start moshing, yeah, sometimes they don't have the chance to walk back in, and they either choose to give up the objective, or they dance in the edge of it and dies either way.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Any more
Yeah,
small pits?
one more thing. It's a lot of summons in this game dances. So no, not on the fun, not for fun, not for fun. They couldn't do any damage or do any abilities while they're dances, even for the summons, like Junkrat tires.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He can't trigger the bomb when the tire is dancing.
I did not know
So
that.
so if you want to save the teammates, like you stun the tire, you make it dance, and while the teammates run away, and or to kill the tire, like you couldn't blow up the tire. Even though Junkrat is not dancing, but the tire is.
It's crazy.
And the Kerrigans, yeah, like Hydralisk, like if you want to save some teammates, sometimes you just have to make some summons dance around you instead of the enemy.
That's the most Giga Chad move ever. If only your teammates are gonna appreciate and notice it instead of seeing a random E.T.C mosh.
True, yeah.
But trust me, I notice everything, Damaomao. Your stuff is crazy. So you're gonna get it from me. Good on you for doing that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Oh man. The thing is, like, Mosh Pit also like gets more complex when you add like a certain number of talents that give you mobility. Suddenly, there's dimensions to how you use Mosh Pit. We're gonna get to that a little bit later, though, and we need to move on to Stage Dive before the server shuts down.
All right.
Let's see, Stage Dive. Compared to Mosh Pit, it's a much more loose ability in the fact that it's almost half the cooldown, 75 seconds only. It's a global ability. You leap to anywhere you want on the map, and then you land after a hefty delay, dealing lots of damage, and you slow them by 50% over 4 seconds. This is a crippling slow. You get hit by this, You're not having a good day if you're, I don't know, Ana or Malfurion. Like, it feels terrible being hit by this slow. And then you got an ETC right on top of you that's ready to power slide, face melt you, all that jazz. Very strong initiation ability. It kind of goes without saying that, yeah, if you need to get into the enemy team deep, Stage Dive is the way to go. And it also gives ETC global presence. A very common strategy is they pick up Stage Dive and they decide to go to a off lane or some random lane on the map so that they can dive into the air when the fight starts, because it's advantageous to start the fight with a Stage Dive compared to walking in from the side, if you have it available, that is. Mama, what do you think about Stage Dive?
Yeah, this is the ability I rarely pick, but like you said, if the enemy have a really strong global pushing comp, like they don't want to fight you at all, they have all the disengage in the world, your team just couldn't get any good fights started, and they always have two heroes on the side lanes pushing you. This might be the ultimates you have to go, the heroic you have to choose, just so you can be in the fights and counter soaking, counter pushing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes it's an answer to an uncomfortable problem that ETC has. ETC thrives in these big 5v5 team fights because of the presence of Mosh Pit and a big power slide. Very good odds that you score multiple man value. But when you don't get that, when the enemy team doesn't allow you by doing this split pushing nonsense, Stage Dive is maybe something that will prevent the enemy win condition.
Right, and you will even I did choose them, like you say, to dive. If your team have a really heavy dive comp and they have like Anna, Malf, or any non-mobile champions heroes to,
Mm-hmm.
but you can engage on, I still rarely choose stage dive because it's too telegraphed.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the enemy have a CC to interrupt your mosh pit, they will for sure have a CC to click on the center of the big circle you just put on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna land. That's gonna appear. A cow is gonna appear in a second. They can just throw
Yeah.
everything on that
Here comes
centers,
the
and
cow.
then you'll get like Malfurion roots and sleep
Oh
darts
yeah.
and grenades. Yeah, it's like it's really telegraphed unless you do it. The best time to do it, I think, it's in the middle of the fights. You
Absolutely.
engage with a you engage with a Q, slide in, you push them around, you heals, and then you walk back out of the fight, and then they couldn't see you anymore, and all of a sudden you're ready to go back in with a
Mm-hmm.
stage dive. Yeah.
Exactly so. I think it's much more successful being a mid-fight kind of appearance rather than start of fights raw dogging it, because when the enemy team is pressured to stay to fight, like say your team is engaging and now the enemy team has to respond to that, their tanks need to form up and stay in place, and then the backline needs to come in to assist. When the stage dive comes in right on top of them, now both sides need to make an uncomfortable decision. The front line is about to be separated, and the back line needs to make a decision whether or not they want to stay within the circle. If they do, they get slowed big time, and it usually leads to their death. It's very, very annoying. Or they back up, and then now there's an ETC behind the enemy front line, and then you're about to face melt plus power slide the front into your team. And it's usually pretty devastating. You trying to do it start a fight is very disastrous because there's going to be CC waiting for you when you land, just like you say, the Malfurion route especially. And plus, the enemy teams are going to scatter in an unpredictable manner rather than something that you might prefer. And it's not going to produce as good of an outcome as doing it mid-fight. So I think the best way of doing a stage dive is to intentionally wait until it's kind of the middle of the fight, but also like maybe the opening stages, but not the start of the fight. It's not like a Hanzo arrow where you want it to be the first thing that happens.
Everything ETC does put himself in the middle of the danger. So this stage dive in the beginning, when all the abilities are still ready, it's really dangerous to do. Yeah.
Big time. There is Rockstar in effect because there is an amplified version. When you use your heroic, the armor gets upgraded to 50 armor, which doubles your health. This is quite important that you don't get blown up immediately after diving from stage dive. Less so for mosh pit because if you get the important targets, they're stunned either way. You're not going to feel it. But for stage dive, that 50 armor is very important.
Yeah, even for mosh pit, if you wanna survive a pyroblast while you're already out of the fights, just start dancing yourself, and then you can
Dance,
survive it.
dance, dance, revolution. The problem's away.
Yeah,
Even if there's a sun going to your face.
yeah. Just don't be afraid to stay alive, wasting a mosh pit, but survive the fights. Yeah.
Yeah. We already know Damaomao's opinion about stage dive, and that even if there's all the CC in the universe, he will land the one in the miracle mosh pits. So he still picks it up. But in my opinion, I think ETC has two amazing heroics. Stage, getting a global ability on a hero is really advantageous. So stage dive is pretty handy. Plus, it gives you a little bit of a macro pressure. Plus, it gives you a little bit of alleviation. Plus, it gives you a little bit of XP advantage because hey, you're in the sidelines, you're gathering it, waiting for the stage dive. It's something you could do. So yeah, this is kind of
Yeah,
like this is so comp dependent, like you can't even begin to describe it. But there is definitely a time and place for both heroics, even though they're very different.
yeah. For stage dive, I feel like the team have to be overall beefier or have another tank, like offlane tank.
Yeah,
If you want to go off to the offlane, because the moment you're away from the team as a solo tank with a stage dive, the enemy team have much easier time to engage on your team.
big time. Um, this is always the thing about global heroes is that sometimes the enemy team can call your bluff and they drive her up and decide to engage upon your team, and sometimes they score the pick before you arrive. This is a real possibility that could happen.
Yeah, it's like the higher ranked comps blow up a target so fast, like there's no time to react to
Mm,
look at them and then choose a location good for stage dive. By the time you arrive, the
exactly.
fight's already over. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually it's like maybe 3.5 seconds from when the fight starts that ETC shows up. And whatchamacallit? I had a thought, but then yeah, if you have like three ranged assassins and a healer on your team, stage dive is really bad. Like it's kind of
Right.
tough because your team has no pressure and they're going to fold, and then the fight is going to develop in such a way that by the time you land, the whole enemy team has already moved on to where your team was, and then it gets kind of tricky from that point on. But if there's any like bruisers or tanks aside from ETC, like stage dive is really good because you come flying in, the front line is still there, and then you divide it in half, like Moses, dividing the sea there.
Right. Exactly.
Alrighty, and with that, ETC has a very flexible kind of baseline ability kit. Some strong, some weak, but his ultimates are definitely star of the party here. Once you become level 10, I think ETC becomes a lot more dangerous, and yeah, that's kind of what we're waiting for. In the meantime, I suppose we'll go on to talent trees unless there's any last second descriptions about our abilities here.
No, well, let's move on.
Excellent. Level 1. I remember, so I was watching Team Liquid Hasu Ops on the Nation Cups, and there was a really good match that occurred. And throughout, like, even though the match was epic, there was a heated discussion from the best tank players about what was a good ETC level 1. I think I think Krankle had the opinion that Guitar Hero was really good, and then Simply DK, Death Knights, they would lean more towards Block Party. And there's also I think Dino had a word to say. I think it was Block Party in that because he's a ranged assassin player, Block Party really helps his game plan out because it makes him more audacious. He has more space to do stuff, etc. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It was really interesting. I will link to what I refer to in the description so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Plus the match itself was awesome, so you get to have that spectacle on the meantime. Anyways, Guitar Hero. While your guitar solo is active over its 4-second duration, ETC heals for 60% of the damage dealt by its basic attacks. Furthermore, every attack you do increases the duration of the guitar solo by half a second. So in this way, Guitar Hero allows ETC to have more sustain. You get a 60% lifesteal, and also your attacks increase the duration. So this is amazing when there's a lot of poke on the enemy team and you need to keep yourself topped off. Guitar Hero is so good. And I also found out like a second really, really important thing. I noticed this when I fight Zenroth on this ETC. He uses Guitar Hero as essentially a brick wall. Even if you want to pressure the ETC away, he does not budge because he's attacking the tank with Guitar Hero active, and you can't get past the sustain unless you put more pressure onto the ETC. But when you put pressure on the ETC, you're in range of being power slid on. So it's a catch 22. Either you attack the ETC or you don't, and you lose either way because the Guitar Hero is active. It's lifesteal. I do the same thing with Tyrael, with the lifesteal talent on level 4, which is 60% plus the damage boost. But you need extra levels. E.T.C does this from level 1, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's doing that. He's doing exactly that. So yeah, that's my analysis on it. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, just for Guitar Hero or for the level 1 in general?
Let's do Guitar Hero, and then I say we're gonna do the all-rounders
Oh, okay,
after
okay.
we describe the three and their purpose.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think this one is, I think, the strongest one in everyone's opinion, and just because the sustain it provides, just give, and it also extend the healing just by so much longer, and then after a couple more talents, you might keep it up indefinitely. So
Mm-hmm.
any map with objectives that you need to hold the ground for a long time, or like you say, there are multiple targets or some melee targets you can hit on freely and just keep up the healing durations. This is amazing talent. It provides so much healing, and then it makes you, you give the enemy team hope, a false hope of like when they're trading with you, like
Mm-hmm.
thinking they can
Yeah.
whittle you down, but then they didn't realize the healing passive never went away while fighting them. So
Mm-hmm.
especially in the Diablo maps, the Battlefield of Eternity, or the another one, like when you're hitting
Mm-hmm.
something for a very long time, or the Sky Temple, where you have
Mm-hmm.
to tank the 4, the 5 like
The Guardians there.
mummies attacking you. Yeah, the Guardians
Yeah.
there is really amazing without dropping your HP at all. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, really important factor there. ETC, like you said earlier, that ETC is liable to getting chain stunned and his health is kind of low. Guitar Hero keeps you in the fight longer than you should because it just gives you that much sustain.
Right.
Mm, very solid. Ideally, you pick this up in games where you feel like you're going to brawl with the enemy tank, and sometimes putting pressure on the enemy tank is like the key to winning the matchup. In my opinion, Garrosh, although very scary as he is, he's he's one of the weaker heroes when he gets pressured on. When the enemy tank is not afraid of him, Garrosh kind of like struggles a lot. And then you being high health and you out trading him, right click to right click, forces him away. And then if he wants to get past you, he has to toss you rather than somebody else. And that's much more advantageous for ETC being tossed compared to a squishier target on your team. So yeah, if you need to win like the 1v1, I think the 1v1 in a miniature scale, which is the tank versus tank matchup, it works really well. And yeah, you need a front line to bash this on. If there's no front line, Guitar Hero is not that good, but you can find ways to make it work by hitting creeps to get your health back up. Because in games where there is not a lot of front line, there's a lot of backline, there's usually a lot of poke associated with that backline.
Yeah. Yeah. But right. But into a garage, it really depends on the comp. If garage, like you said, which
Mm-hmm.
one which one gets scared first is the losing one. Like
Yeah,
if garage toss you into the team and they are undoing roots or a Tyrant stun follow up and you get blow up instantly,
yeah,
you
it's
won't be attacking
you don't
garage.
want to be doing that.
Yeah, you won't be attacking garage that game for sure. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, a very good caveat. Thank you for correcting me there, because if there's a Tychus behind that garage, it's lights out no matter which way you slice it. Like, he's very happy to toss the tank in.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, Guitar Hero's a flexible talent, does a lot for ETC, boosts his stats. I don't have anything more to add to it, though.
Yeah, it's we'll get to that later on, but I don't pick this one often. Only like I said, if there's a
Mm-hmm.
like a PvE units for the objective, I have to hit for a long time, or like a boss I have to tank,
Mm-hmm.
or like a really strong target that doesn't, a really beefy target that doesn't do a lot of damage. I will pick this unless one situation I tend to try to pick this is when I'm fighting Cho'Gall.
Mm-hmm. I
because he
see.
doesn't provide he does a lot of damage, but he doesn't provide a lot of engage or disengage that threatens ETC. But he
Hmm.
just does a lot of damage. So I will pick these talents and just whittle him down while
Hmm.
losing health slower than what another talent provides.
Absolutely. Good way of putting it. I like it. Mm-mm. And yeah, I guess moving on to the other what we call it?
One second. One second.
Of course. I need some water for myself. These sessions always drain me.
Sorry. Electrician is here to check my broken stove.
Oh, very
One
nice.
second.
Okay, so we're moving away from the client because the server is shutting down, and now we're on the Heroes of the Storm wiki here. We're about to begin talking about Prog Rock. This is a quest talent for E.T.C. where he wants to collect 20 regeneration globes. Every time you collect a regeneration globe, you increase the healing of your guitar solo by 5, which is actually really good. So if you pick up 10 globes, you're now healing an extra 50 per second, which is, and mind you, like baseline guitar solo is 66 health per second. So you can easily double your natural healing with prog rock. And then after you collect 20 globes, guitar solo will now also heal nearby allied heroes for about 80% of what guitar solo would have done without the talent, while it is active. There's obvious applications in that prog rock is helpful for your whole team if they're getting poked down by, let's say, I don't know, Asmodan, Liming, especially Lunara. These are good situations where prog rock comes into play, but it also gives you a lot of healing, non-conditional healing. Like you just get the healing for free, which is pretty good. Not a bad talent. It does require regeneration globes, and sometimes the game state does not allow us. Like, say you're losing really badly in lane due to certain compositions, prog rock kind of becomes difficult to complete. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't know if I'm the only player that will stand behind prog rock, but this is the one I choose. It's funny you mentioned earlier during the stream, everybody's arguing about Block Party and Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here picking prog rock. 95% of the game I'm playing in.
Giga chat opinion. I love that.
Yeah, to me it just provides, it just cover a lot of ETC's weakness. Because yeah, but we can get to that later when we get to the all three in like a roundup. But if
Mhm.
the healing it provides both to yourself and to sometimes your teammates, it's hard to notice during a fight. Not like a
Mhm.
block, like a flashy block, or like a you're just auto attacking with your passive like extended indefinitely. But
Mhm.
this one actually provides a lot more when ETC is in a bad situation.
Absolutely. Because you don't need to be clicking, you're just getting the healing all the time. Plus, the healing is not like added to the duration up to 8 seconds. It's all being front loaded to the 4 seconds you're spending, and that matters a big deal.
Right, like if you get the weakest situation for ETC is when he get chain CC'd, but at
Mm.
that point you're not really doing any auto attacking, you're not doing any abilities. But if you have your proc rock like started before you get chain CC'd, like you get the full heals and survive the fights sometimes.
Big time. That's actually so true. Now that you say it, I'm gonna believe. I always liked prog rock. Like, I think it's a decent talent, but maybe I was too tunnel vision on the fact that the other talents have like a specific niche scenario. I'm like, oh, we're in this situation. I should pick this. With Ragnaros, I've developed the mentality that slow burn on 4 is the most important talent on the tier. Even if there's literally 99,000 spell damage, I never go to spell armor. I always go to slow burn because it's important for your game plan as a Ragnaros. I think it's the same thing with ETC here, where prog rock here, like the numbers are just good, and it crucially helps you in a situation where you need the help more than anybody when you're stunned.
Right, and if they have like a Nazeebo or Gul'dan with especially the Chen, the newly buffed Chen nowadays,
Oof.
I think this will get more value in your whole team with the
Mm-hmm.
AoE healing too.
Really good points. Yeah, I like that. The AoE
I,
healing is usually why people pick up Prog Rock, and then you see it in ARAM all the time, and it's a good talent on ARAM too. But yeah, you're totally right. I see the value. I see the value. It makes sense.
yeah, and one more thing I was gonna say. What is it? What is it? Oh, it give you good habits of picking up globes as a tank.
Yes, totally. As it's, let me tell you how annoying it is when I'm Jaina and I need my globes, and then my tank refuses to step up for the globe. I'm like, oh, now I gotta walk up there, and then I die, and it's outrageously infuriating. So good point on that. I like that a lot. The tank should be the one that steps up because they are the safest and least likely to die if they step up.
Yeah, it just give you force you into a good habit of you see a globe, even if it's an enemy globe, if you use some abilities, push them off, grab it, make
Hmm.
them piss them off.
Yeah, totally. Really good point that you brought it up. Thank you. Anything more to say about Prog Rock Club?
No, I'm just gonna pause you for 1 second. Sorry.
You got it. Okay, so we're back on the client. We're recording this on a different day. Not a problem. Continuing where we left off, we talked about Guitar Hero and we talked about Prog Rock. Generally speaking, when you're playing E.T.C, people are going to be anticipating that you pick a block party. What this does is whenever you use an ability, you activate your traits in a way, you'll give nearby allied heroes a stack of block, which is 75 physical armor against the next instance of hero attacks. And you have a maximum of 2 stacks. It's only going to last you 8 seconds. It's not permanent like, say, a Murd and Toss. What do you think about block party, Mr. Damaomao?
Um, it's pretty good when you're trying to protect your whole team. This is like a team-oriented talent. It's give you 2 charges, even though it time out
Mm-hmm.
after 8 seconds. It's still a great protection to absorbing one of those heavy hitters auto attack.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Would you say it's more important to give yourself more protection through like Guitar Hero or Prog Rock versus giving the whole team block?
I think this one's for the team. For yourself, the healing usually accommodates pretty well
Mm-hmm.
for my self healing. But if the team is getting focused or getting doved, I think this block party is the only one that can give them more room to either save
Mm-hmm.
themselves or like a counter kill the diver.
Mm-hmm. Exactly so. When when I describe those situations like the level one discussion for EDC towns, most people lean towards block party because hey, it's the tank's job to keep everybody alive, influence the team somehow. It's all true and all, but sometimes like the existence of the tank operating on the front lines where they can anchor it and they're not letting the enemy team through or they're not ceding ground, that gives more space for the backliners to do their thing. So it's kind of a hard thing to measure. Like, would you be able to do the same series of actions if the tank is still alive and healthy on the front line, ready to turn around for you? Or would you be more comfortable playing more dangerously, knowing you've got block party stacks on you, for example? And I think Dino
Yeah,
was a big proponent of this block party kind of like thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, if you are coordinating well with your whole team, the Black Party definitely provides a lot of value because every time you press any abilities, it's like one block for 5 people, so like
Mm-hmm.
at least 5 bodies. So that's a lot of value. But like if I'm getting focused or poked down a lot in the front line, I'd rather be at like 80% health with Proc Rock, or
Mm-hmm.
rather than like a 20% health with two block charges.
Yeah, it's gotta be like against very specific heroes that have hard hitting crits. Say Ragnaros, Blistering Text, Raynor with his traits. I don't know, Imperius especially. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Otherwise,
Zujin, yeah, like all
mm,
the, yeah, it might not work as well on Tychus or Tracer, those fast attackers, but
mm,
against people that jumps in auto attack once or twice with their abilities, this works really well.
absolutely, I absolutely feel the pain when I'm playing Raynor to an ETC. It's mostly a favorable matchup, but then there's Block Party, and then it's all ruined. It's not even fun anymore.
Yeah, yeah, it's not as flashy as another talent, but like the enemy team feels much more of the pain
Yeah,
than the
yeah.
visual effects
Yeah.
shows. Yeah.
That's so true. I feel the pain more when I'm on the enemy team, dealing with the blocks than the tank itself or the teammates that's getting the block. You're right on that part.
Yeah.
Now, of these three options, when would you pick each? As they're all kind of survivability
Yeah.
talents.
Yeah, just they provide different roles for the ETC tank. Guitar Hero, when there's a lot of either PV objectives or a lot of not hard hitting front lines of the enemies that I can freely just auto attack for a long time. I'll go with Guitar Hero.
Hmm.
Prog Rock is what I usually go because it just provides so much number or value even when I'm getting focused and couldn't move at all.
Hmm.
And it just like heals the whole team and heal so much more for myself even if I'm not doing anything after I
Hmm.
press E. And then
Good time.
Block Party when they have a big diver or like a heavy hitter focusing either me or my party members like a 0-2 that dives in or like
Yeah.
you just block so much of their initial bursts. Yeah,
Hmm.
but one of the reason I don't like Guitar Hero is also because as a tank I like to position or like move every second in front of the enemy. I
Hmm.
don't like to um what's the word? I don't
Stand
like
still to
to
attack.
Yeah, I don't like to show that like I'm working towards a target because I need to auto attack to keep my passive
Hmm.
up. Yeah, like choreograph. It will show where I'm going if I pick the Guitar Hero. It's like
Hmm.
you either work towards a tank, you work towards a minion. It's easier for them to aim their skill shots and abilities.
Hmm. Totally true. I agree. Hmm. Yeah. That kind of explains the question. Thank you. Yeah. Any last thoughts about these talents then?
Um. Like I said, I'm the single believer of prog rock. If that's if nobody else is on my camp, I'll still pick it.
Everybody's
I
arguing over Guitar Hero Block Party, and then you still believe in prog rock, even if it's not ARAM.
Yeah. Even if it's not ARAM, I think this provides the most of the value and cover most of the ETC's weakness when he's getting
Yeah.
focused.
Would you also say prog rock is good into teams with lots of poison and like DOT poke, for example? Because
Yeah,
it.
definitely. Yeah, there are multiple instances where I call in the chat for my teammates to run next to me because I have a
Mhm.
I have a prog rock up and they
Yeah.
survive with like one bar of HP. It's
Oh,
kind of
love that.
funny. It's a little healing. The 50 to 90 healing saved their lives.
Hold hands with me. I got you.
Yeah. The range is not big, but it works. It works.
Totally. Good on you for calling that out. That's so cool to pull off. Alrighty, and without further ado, I think level 4 is the next tier we're moving into. Very good. We're going to be going into Crowd Surfer. Allows Power Slide to travel over walls and terrain. If no enemies are hit, it will reduce the cooldown of the ability by half and refund the mana cost fully. Uh, Power Slide generically does not have the capability of going over walls, which is a pretty big downside for ETC compared to other type tanks. Usually he can make it work though, so it's questionable whether or not you need this, but Crowd Surfer does give you the opportunity for opening up Power Slide to affect bigger regions of the map. Say you're on a map with lots of small walls, Garden of Terror, Cursed Hollow. There's lots of opportunities where you just go over a wall, and that completely saves your butt. Or it allows you to initiate into strange angles. Uh, Damaomao, what do you think about Crowd Surfer?
Yeah, Crossover just is the least one I pick from these three. Just because it
Mm-hmm.
changed the ETC's playstyle as a tank so much.
Mm-hmm.
It just completely like changed his kits, which is really fun, but it kind of defeat the purpose of a frontline unkillable tank.
Mm-hmm.
He become like a backline harasser or like a jump scare that's gonna pop up behind the enemy team every couple
Mm-hmm.
seconds and then slides away and hides behind the wall again. It
Yeah.
provides a it does provide some like it opened up a lot of new strategies for the team to play around. But yeah, for me, like I think this will change the play style of the ETC too much.
I see where you're coming from. Uh, it does. I think it's a good thing to have more possibilities, though. I think you're right in that crowd surfer. It gives you new possibilities, but it doesn't make you do anything that you're already doing a little bit better, because it gives you no benefits if you slide through enemies, and that's the whole point of using power slide altogether. You're trying to stun enemy heroes.
Yeah, and if you're when you're slicing across the wall, across the terrain, and you accidentally hit a minion or hit a wall, you don't get any refunds.
Yeah,
You're just stuck there for the
yeah,
full duration. Yeah.
big time. On the flip side, it does give you some leniency if you miss your slide into the enemy team. Technically, you do get the cooldown and refund the mana cost at that point, but at that point, it might be a little bit dicey. You might just die right away because 6 seconds is a long time in team fight seconds, so you might get punished right away. But yeah, it's there, especially in the early game. At level 4, you could totally feel the cooldown reduction. I do agree that changing your playstyle as a tank, where you become this ninja ETC, going over walls, taking like a completely hidden pathing routes, which might be hyper efficient, speed wise, like you'll show up at top lane like 10 seconds sooner, past the watchtowers where they could have seen where you came from, and just gank on them. Could work on like Practice Outpost and Dragonshire where there's lots of rotations, but if you're going by yourself, I don't know if ETC is a very effective ganker by himself or getting to a point sooner than the rest of his team is.
Yeah, I can actually see this being pretty good for early game, like for lane ganks and like camp invasions. You will definitely surprise the enemy team how fast you can reach the other side, hidden from their visions. But the problem is, like you said, ETC still relies on the teammates to do most of the damage after he
Mm-hmm.
engages. So if the team still have to work through a vision tower or like works through a
Mm-hmm.
lane with minions, like they will still get spotted. Sometimes that put them in danger because I'm here already in position
Mm-hmm.
and they're still traveling and they might get jumped down without a
Mm-hmm.
tank. The teammates definitely needs a secondary front line, or everybody should have a healthy HP pool for to survive
Mm-hmm.
any engages without the tank. Well, if I'm there setting up a surprise gank and
Mm-hmm.
for another people.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's kind of like a
Yeah, you also just
circumstances. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you also just change the way the slide works. A lot of times I have to rely the terrain or the wall to make sure I stun the target, but doesn't go too far into the enemy team. Like I slide at the angle where I don't slide the whole range because I'm stuck on the terrain. But if with this a talent picked, sometimes you might just slide through to the other side of the wall, like couldn't reach back in for the next 6 seconds. Or if you
Mm-hmm.
actually stun someone, you're stuck on the other side of the wall for 12 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, yeah, you have to get used to it to maybe walk back 2 steps so you don't. But that in
Mm-hmm.
that case, then you're now using your Q closer to the enemy. You give them a longer time to react. You just change his whole kits, in my
Gotcha.
opinion.
Yeah, definitely messes with the muscle memory, as you got radical change on the random talent, and then you got accommodates what it's like playing with, what it's like playing without, what it's like playing in anticipation of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just like the same thing with false stats dash range at level 4. Like sometimes you pick it, you just roll into the enemy tower without knowing that's how far you're gonna go. Like
Yeah.
this will definitely mess you up, make you end up not where you want it. But if
Mm-hmm.
the enemy have a gorge portal comp, tomb comp, anything that will keep you in a bad position. The other day I was trying this talent just for fun. An enemy have
Mm-hmm.
a Chen that keep wants to barrel me into their
Uh-huh.
team. I just like usually Chen will push the target against the wall or against like two walls to stuck them there for a long time.
Uh-huh.
I just slides slide out another way, and it was
Yeah.
pretty fun. Yeah, it works. Definitely have its niche situations to use.
Mm-hmm. Very creative kind of talents, but it's strictly mobility wise, it's pretty cool for ETC, but there is another mobility talent in this tier that it competes with. We'll talk about that in just a minute. One last thing to note, Crowd Surfer does synergize a little bit with Mosh Pits, as an unexpected ETC angle could hit a pretty big mosh. Say, for example, a fight breaks out, maybe it occurs near a wall, maybe you came in late, lots of reasons, but if you show up and you go over a wall, you could mosh pit right away, it's possible, or you put yourself in such a unbelievable flanking position that it is inevitable that you walk up and mosh pit after you see the abilities go off, because people are keeping their eyes out for ETC, and generally speaking, it's kind of predictable the paths he takes, so they'll just stop where he's going. But if you can go over walls, you make every part of the map dangerous in a way.
Yeah. Definitely with the maps with a lot of corners and choke points and like fog of wars, this will definitely surprise the enemy team. As long as your team can survive the initial engages by the enemy without the front line.
Yeah. Fundamentally, I do agree with you that you can't really be doing these crowd surfer ninja plays, because you need to be right there with your team. Because if the tank is not with the team when they're rotating, the odds of them dying during that rotation increase exponentially. Something's going to go wrong.
Right.
Without further ado, I'm going to go into loudspeakers, unless there's one more idea you had for crowd surfer.
We're good for now. Yeah.
You got it. Loudspeakers increases the range and knockback of your W by 50%. Simple as. Damaomao, how important would you say this is to you?
To me, this is the talent I'll pick 95% of the time. It just makes face melt like 10 times stronger, even though the range is only a 50% buff, but the circle just cover almost like the entire middle section of the screen, and just make everything he does 10 times better.
Big time. With sometimes it, especially like as a newer ETC, this is going to affect you more often than not. You have to time your face melt in such a way that you prevent somebody going into you, but the range is somewhat short, so you not only need to stop them just in time before they hit you, which could be a fast-moving enemy, but you also need to keep, you need the timing right and the range right. Both of them are kind of difficult to pull off, but with loudspeakers, that extra range lets you press it earlier, and you still get the same outcome.
Yeah, and it's just not. It's not only the range increase. It's also, I think, the knockback power that's increased. Knockback, distance and speed. That's also buff. So if you slide into someone, walk forward a couple steps, and then press loudspeaker, the target probably deep inside your enemy team already, and without any protection, because everyone else got pushed out another way as well.
That is true. Is there?
Yeah, if
Continue.
Yeah, if I see any target that needs to be interrupted, that's like a their main engage or main disengage, I of course, the loudspeaker provides so much value. If I see a enemy have a blades as a tank or as a frontline that game, or like Anduin as a healer, I know I'm gonna be interrupting so many of their skills, their engages or charges or healings, because they take their wind up is so long. I have plenty of time, and loudspeaker just make me position myself so much easier. I can protect my teammate with like far away from them. I can still interrupt all their skills.
Totally. Actually, for some reason, I haven't thought about loudspeakers being a way as increasing your CC by directly increasing the distance in which you could shove somebody back. For some reason, that just doesn't register in my mind. I'm just thinking about the range.
I love doing like especially any skills that have a really good visual cue or sound cue, like variance smash, or like I said, blades charge, like everything that have a slow wind up or like a travel distance. I just walk around them or walk around my teammates, even far from them. I can still just wait for the visual cue or sound cue and just press face melt, and it will interrupt whatever they're doing mid travel.
That's the secrets of the master here. Have a talent to do the heavy lifting for you, and then I don't know, just play React game.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Is there a specific? I know there's like a roster of heroes that you are waiting for loudspeakers before you really dumpster them. Is there like a list of heroes you got on your mind that you gotta get loudspeakers ASAP against?
Um.
Because
Well,
I
like I
know,
said, I pick this. Yeah, I pick this most of the
yeah.
time. So I'm used to using this against like most of the heroes. But like I say, Blaze, Varian, because interrupt
hmm
Varian's charge and the smash if they go for it. Even if I miss the timing to interrupt their charge, it prevents them from clicking taunts on the target because they are pushed out of range after.
hmm
So you'll make their engage much weaker. Um,
hmm
I will say
Alaric, maybe. I remember you saying
right. Autorack.
Alaric's like he's not
Yeah.
gonna play the game anymore.
Yeah. Because the Autorack scariest combo is the pull in with and then with the silence of his Q. But even though I can't predict when he's gonna use his pull, usually the Q come in with a gap in between.
hmm
Usually the silence come in with a little timing where I can press W, and it's pretty reactable. You just wait for you or your teammates get pulled, and you press a face melt, and they will get interrupted. The Q won't go on cooldown because it's not a channel skill. They will have it available, but everyone else will be he will be pushed out, and everyone else have time to work out of the range of the Q already.
hmm Got you. Lovely. Great
Oh, and
examples on the
also
loudspeakers.
I use I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. You can cut it out if I did. Diablo. I used I remember the range of like Diablo's Q, and I intentionally worked towards him or bait him into the range for him to cast the Q on me, and then press a loudspeaker
hmm
to easily interrupt his charge.
No, goodness me. That's actually diabolical. Yeah, loudspeakers is, you heard it here from Damaomao. Loudspeakers is the way to really become super annoying as ETC and prevent engages just like that.
Yeah, it definitely separates the target you're engaging on so far away from the rest of the enemy team. It does it might mess up a lot of your teammates' skill shots abilities if you don't use it
hmm
conservatively, but it makes ETC much scarier
hmm
as a engaging tank. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, very strong. Any last comments about loudspeakers here?
Just don't pick this when there is a lot of mages with skill shots on your teams,
hmm
and yeah,
Causes too much
actually,
chaos.
yeah. It causes too much chaos, or just hold on to it, pick it, and just hold on to it.
hmm Which is something you recommended doing as ETC, that ideally you hold on to your face melt until you need it for the situation at hand.
Yeah. Just you also keep your armor up for longer. All
True.
the rhythm.
Lord knows I don't make full advantage of that armor. Alrighty. Speed metal. Speaking of armor, when you use your traits, like your basic abilities or your heroic ability, you will grant everybody 2.5 seconds of movement speed uh, for 20%. Yeah, quite
Yeah,
solid. This
20%.
is what's that? It's kind of like 2/3 of amount, but not quite amount. But 20% is a big deal. Yeah, every time you use your ability, you just
Yeah.
get more speed for your whole team. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's definitely useful against a lot of sticky targets on the enemy team. Especially it provides value for the whole team, just like the Black Party. So if you especially it provides ETC a way out after the engage, because sometimes I slide
Mm-hmm.
in or press the W to push the target I engage on or peeling or disengage the targets. Then I'm stuck there in front or sometimes in the middle of the enemy team. Couldn't get out, but with the 20% movement speed, I can like just walk out or juke their skill shots,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard for them to chase if they don't have any movement speed buff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been playing a lot of May lately. I feel the power of 20% additional speed after I skate in, and it helps so much in making sure I don't instantly die by repositioning away after you dive in. Because E.T.C, fundamentally, he has to go into the enemy team if he wants to stun them. So he always puts himself into harm's way. So speed metal allows you to get out of the situation.
Definitely, yeah. It's just when everyone else is working with 100% speed and your whole team is 120, either chase or running away, it just or just fighting to run around to skirmish, it just provides a lot of value for the whole team.
Big time. It is, yeah, 20% speed. I feel like a lot of players in the community will overlook it, but it makes a really big difference, especially with players when they get good enough. They become much better at dodging. So a 20% speed boost theoretically means they don't get hit by anything if they're that good, which is crazy.
Yeah, definitely see good players that jukes every ability we throw at them just because they have a little movement speed under their feet.
Exactly. Is there a specific comp that will warrant a speed medal over loudspeakers?
If I guess if our team is melee heavy, like if I engage on someone, then the team have to still work up a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to follow up. The speed boost, I can give them a speed boost with my healing, with my E first, with my guitar solo,
Mm-hmm.
and then engages, and then everybody will have an easier time following up my
Mm-hmm.
engage. Or if the enemy team are specifically sticky, like Arthur's or like a E charge variant, then or just when my team needs speeds to get in or get out of the fights, I'm the only one that can provide that to them.
Got you. Yeah, makes sense. I like it. And with that, that's kind of like three different towns for three different purposes on E.T.C. Crowd Surfer being kind of like the X Factor talent. It's if you want to make big plays and be more active on the map yourself, like somehow you need to be out there. But generally speaking, this is not a tank's role to do, so Crowd Surfer tends to be put to the side. Loudspeaker just makes what he does significantly better and a lot more impressive, as Face Melt is a very strong ability. Being able to reliably interrupt a lot more things makes a big deal. And Speed Metal is a piece of utility that will always help your team, and it'll save them health, it'll get them into position. They theoretically deal more damage if they're in position to deal damage more frequently, especially if they have the safety to walk back. Yeah, any last comments about these
Yeah,
level 4s?
yeah. Just for the speed buff, I think it's a good, really good for like auto attacker, like range auto attacker on your team as well. Even though a lot of them already gets movement speed as their kits or their talents, but
Mm-hmm.
it just make their stutter step easier if they can move faster between each
Mm-hmm.
of their auto attack. They can chase, run away, kites so much easier for the whole team. Yeah, it provides a lot of value.
Mm-hmm. That's extremely true because the auto attackers spend a lot of time stutter stepping, where they have to stop for a quick second and send out their attack. They lose ground every time they stop to attack. But when you make up for it with additional speed, they don't spend any time mispositioned, so to say, which is really, really important. And
Yeah.
there are a lot of auto attackers do have speed, yes, but I feel like they're found on the later towns, like level 13 onwards. Vala needs level 7, Zolja needs 13, Raynor technically needs 13 as well, Grammy needs 13, Cassia needs 13, but she tends to go the auto attack talent, so that's a hero that could really like speed metal. Yeah,
Oh yeah, Cassia with 30 armor and 20 speed. That's scary. Yeah.
big time. I feel the difference when an Abathur hat is on Cassie. It's quite terrifying.
I'm sure you'll feel the difference when anybody gets after hats onto them,
Yeah, okay.
especially.
Not limited to her, but yeah, that's how she goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and with that, that's level 4s. Pretty interesting utility tier, whereas 1 was survivability, level 4 is a way to pivot into what the situation calls for. And yeah, moving on to level 7. Quick check, we're good. Quick check. We're good. So we have 3 ways of increasing ETC's damage here. Pinball Wizard. After you hit somebody with the stun from Power Slide, you will cause your face melt to deal triple. Wait, is this triple or is it quadruple damage? 300% more damage. Kind of
300% more, so 4 times. So I
Yeah,
was
so it's
assume it's 4 times.
should be
Yeah.
quadruple the damage, which is even higher than the last time I looked at it. So yeah, when you slide past them, if you hit them with a face melt shortly thereafter, you quadruple its damage. Big damage, like it helps a lot with bursting somebody down. The damage is quite big and substantial, and suddenly ETC gets kill potential. You see somebody, he can totally kill them if they're at a low amount of health. Damaomao, how important is Pinball Wizard to you?
Pinball Wizard, I would say it's ETC's bread and butter talents, especially compared together with loudspeaker. It's really make the target you try to engage on disappear in an instant. It puts a lot of pressure into the enemy's assassin or like the glass cannons. As long as you can reach them, they are losing at least 40% of the HP just by yourself. Like fly in, do 2 auto attacks, and then do your pinball wizard, and then they're usually pretty close to dead if your teams are around. And it just makes his cover couple of his weaknesses, like the solo killing potential, finishing off target potential, and wave clearing. This provides so much value with the wave clear. Without it, ETC will be stuck in the lane until the game ends.
True. Does a bit of everything, honestly, and that's kind of why it's the most commonly picked talents, no?
Yeah, it is, but it drains so much mana from your low mana pool as a tank. But you just have to be careful when you need to go home or tap the fountain to refill your mana. Using this, it's really satisfying, but you will be at 30 to 20% mana at all times.
True. Keep that in mind. It's not so bad when you're doing minion wave clearing because you get the regeneration globes back, but like the Mama says, be careful when you're fighting in team fights because this will incentivize you using both abilities paired together all the time. That does drain a lot of mana.
Yeah, his combo is expensive.
True. I think it's like 115 mana, right? Hold on. On the
Q
money.
is 60. Yeah. Yeah, 115. Yeah.
On the mark. Yeah. That's 20% of, a little bit more, maybe 22% of your max mana, like at level 1. And then throughout the rest of the game,
Exactly.
it still stays around 20%, which is a big deal. But yeah,
Yeah,
Pinball Wizard, really good. Let's move on to Hammer On, which is ETC's basic attacks deal 12% more damage. This was recently buffed to give you that passive bonus damage rather than only being when it's active. And then it's triple when Guitar Solo is online, and then, yeah. Hammer On gives you more right-click damage. It's not insignificant. ETC has good clicks, but its real magic comes from Guitar Hero at level 1, where you're life-stealing for 6% of that damage. So if you're increasing the damage, you're also increasing the heal, and plus Guitar Hero also prolongs the duration of Guitar Solo, which means you get more hammer-on ticks, and so on and so forth. So yeah, sustained damage works great onto PvE, forts, frontliners that don't kill you quickly, so that you have the opportunity to right-click them a lot of times. Yeah, what do you think about hammer-on?
Yeah, I think this should be a must pick if you want Guitar Hero at level 1. This just synergizes so well with the, like you said, the auto attack healings. It gives you so much more sustain power if you're already free to auto attack into their front line or into any objective or minions. This just makes you always topped up. And also the increased damage. It hurts. He hits like almost like 200, maybe 200 plus each auto attack,
Yeah.
and with the duration increase from the guitar hero, it just make him kind of like a small sustained damage plus in the front line, which is strange for a tank. But he provide, if he's safe to auto attack, this is a good pick comboing with the level 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's actually quite a few tanks that have quite good, how should I say this, like brawling potential if they spec into the talents. Not as good as the bruisers, because the bruisers will out heal and out damage the tank. So they're meant to do their titles role into the tank especially. But against everything else, they could totally throw it down, and hammer on is the way to do it. But yeah, it's exclusively to the situation where you pick up Guitar Hero, which prompts a team that is mostly frontline centered, and they're not dying anytime soon. Just want to be there on the front lines, putting in as many clicks as you can. Pretty straightforward talent. I have no more commentary to give to it.
Yeah, I pick this especially sometimes. I pick the auto attack the line of talents sometimes into like a Cho'Gall team,
Mm-hmm.
because they, even though they do a lot of damage, but they don't put too much pressure on the tank because they don't have a lot of CC or a lot of disposition
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Yeah.
So if I pick the auto attack talents, I can dig around them and then keep healing myself, or at least go even with the damage they do to me, and then you put them, and then when my team is ready in position, I can slice on them with a pretty high health pool, because I've been auto attacking them. They do a lot of damage to me, but in return, I do a lot of damage to them and heal myself a
Mm-hmm.
lot. But yeah, I'm pretty safely too, because Cho'Gall can't really like pull me into their team or anything before
Mm-hmm.
level 10.
Yeah. Good tip. I like it. Alrighty. That is Hammer On in the nutshell. Let's talk about Echo Pedal. For some reason, I hear talk that people like this talent, and I tried it out. I am not a fan. To explain why, using casting your abilities, essentially when you're activating your trait, you deal a pulse of 18 damage, and this pulse deals 200% bonus damage to minions, mercenaries, and monsters. So anything not hero related, you deal 54 damage to. There's one trigger immediately, and there's a second trigger that occurs 2 seconds later, which is when your trait expires. So when you lose the armor, you get the second echo. This thing does nothing to heroes, first off, so you can completely throw out any amount of damage that you would have gone from Hammer On and Pinball Wizard down the trash. You're not seeing that onto enemy teams. And two, the wave clear aspect is nice, but it's questionable whether or not it's better than Pinball Wizard, because you need 3 abilities to deal 300 total damage. Why not just slide through it and hit them all with a Pinball Wizard to begin with? You deal the same amount of damage, and you're saving yourself mana by not casting your 40 mana cost guitar solo. Plus, it occurs instantly. Like, you straight up delete the minion wave. You gotta be sitting in the minion wave for 6 seconds for Echo Pedal.
Yeah, like this one just takes way too long to get the value, and the value is not even that great.
Yeah. What do you think about Echo Pedal, the memo?
Yeah, I think this is PvE only talents. Like you say, it does pretty much nothing during the fights or to the enemy team. I'm sure every little damage counts, but compared to Paintball Wizard and the auto attack, this like you said, each auto attack probably equal to like 10, like 5 triggers of this Echo Pedal.
Exactly.
So a lot, as long at least when there's like a good PvE map, like the Battlefield of Eternity or the Immortal map, if you can just sit there and like unbothered to attack, this provides the most value long term, I guess. But during intense fights or doing like a standoff at the objectives, this pretty much does nothing, and Paintball Wizard just cleared the wave 10 times faster than Echo Pedal's slow trigger, and you're using all the abilities anyway, so you're not really saving anything. But
Man, that's so bad in 3 ways. It's the slowest of the options. It deals the least damage of the options. It takes the most mana of the options, and you're spending cooldowns on it, which means you won't have it ready just in case you get ganked. Yeah, this is
Yeah, and this it's just pretty much a weaker version of any other tanks or frontlines flame armor. So
true.
if you're in a situation where you realize your team really needs a flame armor, like the enemy Zagara is spreading creeps everywhere, and there's nobody that have a targeted skills that can reveal the creeps. This might be your only way to press your guitar solo to trigger 2 waves of
Hmm.
the to reveal the creeps. Or I sometimes pick this when the enemy team have some or a lot of stealth target.
Hmm.
Because a lot of the activated stealth like Nova's traits or Valira's traits, they couldn't get, or Samuro, they couldn't get revealed the moment they went into stealth. So if I see them stealth in front of me and I slide onto them, they might not get revealed because
Hmm.
they're still in their safe zone. But the echo pedal that come afterwards will reveal them for my teams if that's the only
Hmm.
way we can reveal them.
Great tip. And in this case, the echo does help because that 2 second prolapse is very important to dodge the unrevealable part of the stealthing.
Yeah, exactly. It just the hits, this one just so awkwardly designed because the second wave of damage doesn't trigger if you use another ability. So if you go in with your Q and you trigger the first 54 damage and you use your W right away, it will refresh. It will trigger another 54 damage right away, but the second wave of the first skill won't be triggered. It will just continue rolls over to the
Hmm.
last ability you used. So
Got you.
it's already a weaker talent. It also like fight with itself.
It's crazy, yeah. Some people like it. Technically, on the tin can, when you're spending onto the wave, it feels nice, but you gotta take a step back and see what it's actually doing to everything else about E.T.C to really evaluate it. And it's just bad. I feel like maybe if this dealt all its damage instantly, there's no pulse like afterwards, I think it would be better.
Yeah, or if the another abilities doesn't override, the pulse just stacks. Like you
Oh
will
yeah,
just
yeah,
get,
yeah.
you use 3 ability, you will for sure get 6 stacks of AOE damage. That would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if they tweak the number a little bit, it might get too strong. If each echo does like 100 damage or 80 damage, it
Hmm.
might be too much value for wave clears and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Kind
Yeah.
of hard to say though. Against wave clear, that's fine, but uh, hero damage is also a big thing to consider, and small number is small, and it's going to scale like exponentially speaking. The way the game gets its 4% extra damage, I think it's an exponential component rather than a strict multiplication. So small number is going to stay small throughout the game, and then big number gets bigger,
Yeah.
and Echo Pedal gets left behind in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hmm. What a shame. Yeah, it is what it is. Any last thoughts about level sevens?
Yeah, level sevens, I'll say it's when ETC gets scary with Pinball Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
He can really pressure even the enemy front line um, with this talent. Also, it provides him with a really great wave clear. Just have to watch your mana. And hammer on if you have a really good guitars hero environment to free the auto attack,
Mm-hmm.
and echo pedal if you really have to need a flame armor situation to help your team review
Mm-hmm.
anything. Yeah.
Gotcha. Perfect explanation. Alrighty, moving on to level 10. We've already talked about the use cases of the heroics, so we're just gonna talk about like comp wise. I'm I don't even have to be asking you, Mr. Damaomao. I know you're picking Moshpit every game.
Yeah, unless we're winning by 4 or 5 levels, mosh pit all the way. Even yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
just yeah,
it's
it
just
just like
glamorous.
the
It's
soul.
mm,
It's the
yeah,
soul of a ETC tank. I feel like.
exactly. It's where you feel the most alive.
Yeah, when I'm not doing anything, when my hands are off the keyboard.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, would you look at a team and then would you tell another ETC, yo, bro, don't pick mosh pit here? Is that something that ever happens?
I'm thinking, for me, even if the team have 4 or 5 CCs ready for me, I will still pick mosh pit just so I get the pressure onto them,
Mm-hmm.
make them hesitate when they want to use their follow-up CC on the engaged target.
Yeah.
But um, if the enemy teams are not fighting us at all, if the enemy team are all split pushers with the Avatar hat and the
Mm-hmm.
Zagara and a Diva and something that
Yeah.
just runs away, interrupting your objective caps and pushing the other lanes, I will suggest that we go stage dive. Let me be a
Mm.
solo laner, so I can cover the side pushes as well as jumping into the fights when I'm needed.
Yeah. Goes to show that the existence of mosh forces the enemy team to play differently, and in a way, you're spending your level 10, and then you also spend the enemy levels 10 to make sure that they have a way to deal with the mosh pit. And sometimes the ETC does smurf it. Unlike other channeled abilities, he has a way to paraslide the whole team and then set up the mosh pit. Technically, if he locks them down, there is nothing to stop you. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of enemy team will usually sometimes hold on to their level 10 until you pick your level 10. But in my mind, there's no other choice. Like you can go ahead and pick your wave of force. You can go ahead and pick your light bombs. But I'm still gonna pick mosh pit just because you will be scared to use your 10-second heroic or
Mm-hmm.
60-second heroic while I'm just holding my 2 minutes to trade with you to waste your time. Yeah.
That's so true. I feel the same with Ragnaros. Like, I hate
Uh-huh.
using Smash to interrupt channeled ultimates, even though technically it's a favorable outcome, like dramatically more favorable. It just feels bad. And I think the enemy team also probably feels the same with Moshpit. Maybe a lot more glad because Moshpit is 10 times more scary than whatever they can pull out. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but any hesitation they have during the fights provides little value to your teams.
Mhm. Fair enough. Onto stage dive. Yeah, like what you said earlier, split push heavy comps because there's no point in ever using mosh pit if you're only going to be moshing one person, like literally the whole game. So stage dive gives you a little bit more map presence as well as a way to deal with split pushers. ETC is actually kind of decent at handling split pushers. He's got ways to specialize either in a 1v1 dueling capability or into a wave clear scenario. And then he uses stage dive to either respond to the split pusher or join the team afterwards.
Yeah, but in my opinion, if you have to as the main tank, if you're the solo tank, if you have to go stage dive to cover the side lanes, you guys are already pretty screwed in the drafting or in the random matchmaking
Mm-hmm.
phase of the
Yeah,
game. Like they just counter you so hard, and yeah, I mean, it does provides a lot of value. It also makes me I can freely go back to base to refill my mana and jump right
Mm-hmm.
back into the fights. Yeah, so it is
Yeah.
a really strong ability, but just compared to Mosh Pit, it's different. On a different level, but this one is also I'm sure every another frontline in this game wants this ability
For
as
real.
one of their choices.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Both great ultimates in their own right. Great tip on that hardening back to base first. Had not considered that, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just during the fights, real quick, like you got focus to 20-30%, go ahead and reset and scare them with a full HP bar again.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Alrighty. Moving on to level 13. This tier is all about augmenting your face melt. There's quite a few good ways of doing so as well. Starting off with mic check. Hitting at least two targets with face melt reduces the cooldown by 60%, down from 10 to 4 seconds. And Damaomao pointed it out to me. It could be any target. It doesn't have to be a heroic target. So if you just hit big minions, cha-ching, you got yourself a no cooldown W, and you can use it again. Tell me the use cases of a mic check. When would you like to pick a mic check?
This is really useful when the enemy team have a lot of engages, a lot of divings. So for example, like if the variant went for heroic charge level 10, he have his charge E up every like 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And this will face melt will make sure we can match his cooldown. Every time he want to
Mm-hmm.
engage on someone, we push them away. Every time
Mm-hmm.
he chases someone, we can push again like this. Yeah, or like a Arthas that just keep walking forward after he roots someone. This will make sure even though he might be slowing you for a short time, he won't be with the on top of the whole team for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Great points, actually. That's E.T.C's face mail is strong, but it's one burst in 10 seconds, and that's a big enough window for teams to capitalize on. Mic check just shuts down that possibility completely. Like it's no longer a thing you can wait for.
Also for Kerrigan, that would like to jump on multiple targets. This will prevent her from like going all the way into your backline,
Mm,
and it just every a push on their whole team every 4 seconds. It's pretty scary.
yeah. And it goes without saying that this synergizes to the moon and back with loudspeakers. Easier to hit multiple targets. It's everything you want to hit, and also pushes them further. So the lower cooldown is meaningful. That produces a big result.
Yeah, especially all ETC's skills are pretty. The cooldowns are pretty long. This will provide you with more armor, with more peeling potential.
Mm, yeah, quite strong talent. And no matter how strong it is, can it hold a candle to Encore? Face Melt leaves an amp behind, which will knock enemies away again 2 seconds later. The amp is whatever, but then there's the second part of this talent that reads passive. Each enemy hero hit by Face Melt or the amp reduces the cooldown of your heroic ability by 4%. This is the real money on why people pick Encore, and we've already established why E.T.C has S tier talent heroics, whether it's through Mosh Pit or Stage Dive. Encore gives you so much cooldown reduction, and then you can cast your most important and impactful abilities more frequently. Damaomao, would you like to elaborate on Encore?
Oh yeah, Encore. It's my baby. It's the must pick. Most of the games, this is it just provides so much value for ETC. The second push, the mini amp doesn't look too impressive, but it also interrupts more skills I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like the yeah and the most important function for this talent, for me, it's to um, distract enemy from mentally tracking my heroics cooldown because they have no
Mm-hmm.
idea how many target I hit with my encore in front of them or in another lanes. Like they just saw me use mosh pit and missed maybe like 20 seconds ago, but now it's almost back up again for the fights.
Yeah, that
And
is it.
also, yeah,
That is an extremely pro tip. Both teams are going to be keeping close eye on the mosh pit cooldown. With Encore, you quite literally you shadow it completely. It is not physically possible, even if you do good diligence in tracking how many times you get hit by an uncored ECC. It's still not possible for you to communicate or see that your teammates hit one more encore than you did. You just didn't know at some point, and then suddenly it's going to come out sooner than you think. So yeah, Encore just prevents enemy teams from anticipating the mosh pit, so they're always paranoid that ETC is going to go in and just put up a surprise mosh pit when they weren't expecting it.
yeah, and it's also a 4% cooldown of the total duration, not your current like leftover duration. So
Mm-hmm.
if you get interrupted, you get like you slide in, you try to mosh, you get interrupted, and when on a 10-second cooldown, you just press encore, and it will be back to the mosh will be back off cooldown instantly.
Mm-hmm. Another great tip, another great function of Encore, as yeah, just reposition and try moshing yet again. This is the only
Yeah.
hero in the game that can I think ETC is the only hero in the game that allows you to recast your heroic if it gets interrupted like that because of Encore.
Yeah, sometimes I get surprised myself. Like the first thing, the first thing I get interrupted, my mosh is try to get out of the fight. But
Yeah.
then after I press my, after I press my encore, I realize my mosh pit is back up. I surprise myself sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. This thing has full of surprises for everybody involved, it appears. Yeah. Another strategy is if the ETC player picks the encore, it suddenly you got a new mini game to play, and that is like just I don't know, showing up to the enemy team. You go up to them, you press W, and then you slide away, and you're doing it purely for encore cooldown reduction value, nothing else.
Exactly. Just make sure to tell your team, do not follow me. This is not engaged. This
Yeah.
is just purely for resetting the R cooldown.
Mm-hmm. As a tank, be very careful not to bait your team into engaging when you have no intentions of engaging. It could totally throw them off and get them killed. But yeah, if you say encore, I'm just encoring. That's good enough. Most people will understand.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
cool.
the mini amp, a lot of people disregards the mini amp, only counts the cooldown reduction of this talent. But first of all, the mini amp also triggers the cooldown reduction. If two enemy
Mm-hmm.
walk near the small amp, you will get another 5 second reduction or 5 to 10 second reduction on your heroic. It also, when you first interrupt it, there like say a Kerrigan is diving towards your team or try to do her combo thing, you interrupt her with your um, slide and face melt combo, and then they didn't realize they didn't cast one of their abilities. It took them a little bit to realize, and then they try to walk into position
Mm-hmm.
again to use the ability. The mini amp will be there to push them away for a second time, perfectly timed,
Mm-hmm.
without me doing anything.
Totally. Quite good. Do you have any additional tips on positioning the amp? Is it something you think about?
Yeah, usually towards like after you slide, you should always try to run. I will usually try to position myself between my teammates and the enemy and myself as a straight line. So I will push them straight into my teammates,
Mm-hmm.
and so the mini amp will be left directly in their escaping path if they're running.
Got you.
As long as they're not running straight up or down the map, they will be in the small amp's path for sure.
Mm-hmm. I see. Good tip. Good tip. Oof. A lot going on with Encore here.
Yeah, it's really fun ability.
I do agree. Yeah. It's you love to see like talents in Heroes of the Storm where they just give you a brand new effect. Hey, you see this face melt? Yeah, we're just going to give you a tiny speaker that goes bong. You don't get the same kind of result from other MOBAs. Why I love this game.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, just remember. Oh, sorry, just one thing. The mini amp that's left behind doesn't get any talents. It doesn't become a
Mm-hmm.
bigger push, or it doesn't trigger any echo pedals or anything. It's simply one small AoE pushback. That's
Mm-hmm.
it.
Good point. Good point. Usually, whenever there's like a copy of an ability, usually copies the talents unless it specifies otherwise. So, in this case, it doesn't specify, but this is what actually happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
One last thing, the amp is good for mercenary capture points. Say you're dogpiling onto a mercenary cap that just got killed and you're brawling with the enemy team over it. Encore gives you 2 chances of shoving people away to hopefully secure it. So that's one strong point for Encore. And another thing is it combos well. Well, it's completely anti-synergistic with Mosh Pit, but there
Mosh pit. Yeah.
is there is one. Yeah, if you got Encore, do not press W ever. If you're planning to Mosh Pit right afterwards, it's gonna have disastrous results.
Interrupt
But
your own skills. Yeah.
oh, dang. It's happened to me once, and I will never forget it. It feels really bad, dude. Anyways, but if you're fighting over something really important, like a boss capture point where it's do or die, what you could do, I saw Crankle do this on Brax's Outpost. He would get onto the point, he would press W, he knocks people away, he leaves behind the Encore, and then he instantly mosh pits. And when he mosh pits, anybody that enters range is going to get stunned. So if you walk up, you can't. You get stunned. But if you dash into the E.T.C where you're on the point, it doesn't matter because the amp is going to push you out of it. And then you're stunned, which means you can't go back onto it. So it completely denies the enemy team from moving on. The only exception is maybe a holy ground from Tyrell that could stop you in your tracks, but this makes E.T.C one of the better boss capturer securers, for example, if you have Encore and Mosh Pit available.
Yeah, if you come to that case, yeah, it's definitely useful. I'm sure I done it a couple times. And if it also, except for bosses, if it's like a small camp or yeah, if it's a small camp, they will start dancing too. They won't be hitting you if you mosh. If they're still alive, they won't be attacking anyone. All the summon and the minions will be dancing as well.
It's also true. Oof, let it rip. Everywhere, everybody get on the dance floor. Yee.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Encore. Any last words about Encore? There's a lot of things to talk about it, though.
I think we said enough about this one talent. It got all the praise it needs.
Oh yeah. Boo! Get off the stage. Let's make room for face smelts, baby. Yeah. The face melts those enemies by 50%, decaying over 2 seconds. A strong number. I'm not gonna lie, 50% is a big deal. This is like Joanna Cube. You're slapping it onto a ETCW. And considering that E.T.C is one of the tanks that has no slow link, which is a very strange feature. So Face Melt gives it back to you in one form, and it's a pretty big deal. I don't know if it's worth the power over Encore or Mike Check though. You know, a basic slow, something like this, and it decays too, which is a downer. What do you think about Face Melt, Mr. Damaomao?
It's the least picked by me over the other two for sure. But I can say I can see it provides a lot of value if your team have a lot of skill shot follow up. If yeah, like I have plenty of time situations where I engage on enemy and they just simply walked out before their health reached zero. With 50% slow for 2 seconds, this sounds pretty enticing. But to me, if I push them into my team with a loudspeaker and then body block them a little bit towards my Encore's mini amp, and they got pushed back into my team again a second time 2 seconds later, I feel like they will end up just in the same location as if they're slow by 50% for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, I got no word to comment on it. It works great with skill shot type heroes. Slowing matters significantly, and there's a chance the other talents might screw up the aiming of your W would mess up the aiming of your team if you picked up the other two talents, especially because they're more chaotic inducing compared to face smelts. But that's really the only use case, I guess, if you're chasing somebody. But it fulfills exactly the purpose we're talking about.
Yeah, but if you chase someone, pushing them away and then slowing them, it's awkward. It's awkward to use for
Yeah,
sure. You
it's
rather
definitely awkward.
yeah, but I can see this one being scary if ET speeds his whole team up with the 20% and then slowing him for
Yeah,
50%. I don't think you're walking out of this fight before you die. Yeah.
huge chase value. But yeah, functionality, the knockback of face melts, interrupting an ability and putting it onto cooldown if they attempted to dash and then they get stopped by the face melt is really what you're after. It's not the fact that you slow or make the enemy repossession just a little bit. It's really about the fact that you interrupt the dash. So having a lower cooldown on mic check or having a possibility of the amp doing it, but really Encore is about the cooldown reduction of your ultimate. Those are just much more important aspects to focus on for ETC. That means face melt gets left behind. If this were on any other talent tier, I think it would feature a lot more play because it is a strong effect. It's just competing with two others that are even stronger.
Oh yeah, put this on level 16, please. I'll choose this one over the other
Yes.
three right
Finally, a good 16 for ETC. Goodness me. But yeah, that's all I have to say about level 13 here. Any last thoughts?
No, I think this is good. Yeah, just have to, if you are used to picking Encore, you just have to remember to reposition yourself correctly so you don't interrupt your own mosh pit, or you don't your teammates doesn't get screwed. Try to aim and get pushed screwed by the small amp.
Totally. Yep. Level 16 time. Showstopper. After using Power Slide, gain 35 armor for 4 seconds. Yeah, it's your trait, but plus 10% armor and plus 2-second duration. Uh, pretty boring, all things considered, but Damaomao, explain to the audience why it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's first of all it doubles it doubles the duration. It become your main because the time ETC get focused when he takes the most damage is when he slides in, and this will cover for a lot of damage they're throwing at you for a longer of the duration. It also just make what he already does better. Like if they're already having a hard time focusing you down when you engage or disengages, and it's just gonna make their job much harder. Now you got more armor. It also make you you can pace out your 3 skills better to have a total uptime of your armor as well. So you just make you overall tankier. Sometimes the enemy team will try to focus on the tank because they've been doing it the whole game. But after level 16, they will be surprised like how much less damage you take after you slice into them.
Totally. And because of that, I think it warrants a little bit more respect than what's on the tin can here. Though I do think it still needs like maybe a tiny bit of a buff. Maybe 40 armor would be a lot better. Mathematically speaking, going from 25 to 35 armor is actually a very big deal. You're increasing your effective health rather than it being 33% when you have 25 armor. It goes up to something like 50% when you have 35 armor. Yeah, I think it's 50. Yeah, it's 55%. I've done the math. This is the Lieutenant Morales armor. Uh, yeah, you increase your effective health by 18% when you use Showstopper. So, yeah, 10% armor actually being 18% is a bigger deal than well a lot of people realize. And that's just like you say, doubling the duration is the real ticket here because there's going to be times where you space out and you're waiting for the perfect W opportunity, and that depends on what the enemy team is doing. So giving the option to wait if you have to is a pretty good deal. Plus, you could save your E for a little bit later, and yeah.
Yeah, against the good team, you're most vulnerable when you slide in. But
Yep.
this would just cover your asses for 4 seconds before you can,
Exactly.
before they stop attacking you. Yeah.
This is just something that makes you more tanky in the situation that matters the most to ETC. And because of that, it's not so bad of a talent. It's just a plain stat booster where other heroes become monstrosities at level 16 or they get new tools that really change the way they play. ETC is more of the same, really.
Yeah, ETC's level 16 are not too exciting, but his other talents are another his base kits. It's already really fun, so he gets a pass at level 16, I
Yeah, gets
guess.
a pass. The rest of his talent trees have been really good up to this point, to be fair. So yeah, this is the one break he has. So yeah, that's Showstopper. If you get bursted after you slide, this is something to consider. Aside from that, we have Aggressive Shredding. ETC's basic attacks reduce the cooldown of a guitar solo by 3/4 of a second. In my experience, I'm not gonna lie, any talent that reduces the cooldown on basic attack is better than it seems, because when you start using it, you realize, oh yeah, the uptime on this, like, goes crazy, and there's a lot of effects like that. For example, the Haka Drag, the one that Feeding Frenzy, the one that reduces the cooldown on right clicks, that's a big deal. Big deal for Dehaka. Um, let's see what else. What else? Blistering attacks, the one where on Ragnaros, if you get cooldown reduction on hitting enemies with your abilities, it's a very important aspect of the talent. If that weren't there, it would be significantly worse. ETC's basic attacks, shredding the cooldown of your guitar solo, operates much the same way, because when you combo this with Guitar Hero at level 1, where you're increasing the duration, and you're reducing the cooldown, you have it on all the time. So that's you having healing. That's you having armor. That's you having level 7, what is it, hammer on? Yeah, that's bonus damage at level 7 as well. And it
You
even
pretty
works with
much
prog
have
rock.
you
Yeah.
pretty much become a fountain. If you pick prog rock, you pretty much become a fountain for your team as long
Hmm.
as you're attacking. Yeah.
Yeah, big time. You don't even have to commit to the Guitar Hero. Prog rock just works amazingly well with it as well. Both of them.
Yeah.
It's a simplistic talent, but it does a lot for ETC sustained healing and survival, and that definitely warrants something to talk about.
Yeah, it's not a flashy talent for sure. All the other auto attack cooldown reduction talents or the skill based cooldown reduction talents are all offensive. Like what I think the most scary one is the Cho's talent, where every time you auto attack, all both of their cooldowns of their heroics reduced by like 5 seconds.
Totally.
That's like the nightmare for the enemy team. You can't even track, and you will be back up in like 5 hits.
Yep.
Yeah, like everybody else gets offensive cooldown reduction, but ETC is purely defensive. It's mostly for self sustain or team sustain if you got proc rock. But you keep your armor up for longer. You keep your healing up for longer. It's just overall like a hidden tankiness that the team, like even yourself, sometimes don't realize.
Yeah. Not a bad talent at all. A bit straightforward, but gets to the point. I have no additional commentary for it. Do you?
Yeah, just I like to use this or pick this if the enemy team have a lot of poison heroes like Nazeebo,
Oh
Gudan,
yeah.
Lunara, or if we're winning and we're trying to siege down their keep or fort. Sorry, yeah, keep or
Mm-hmm.
forts. This using this hitting the building, keep my armor higher, keep my health higher. Will let us like take it with a uh, safer, safer health pool after we're done.
Absolutely. Not bad at
Yeah,
all.
especially with the armor shredding towers after this recent patches,
Mm-hmm.
negative 40 armor compared to negative 15 armor plus healing, it's a lot of difference. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like how the damage reduction multiplies significantly when it goes high. Like if you have high armor, the same way it goes the reverse way. Low armor is rare, but it's very debilitating when you get hit by it compared to like a.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of obvious, you know. More armor shred is more dangerous than less armor shred, but it's exponentially more dangerous.
Yeah, you don't realize how fast you die when you're taking 40% more damage from
Mm-hmm.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, everything kills you, even the Anduin.
Yeah.
Alrighty, aggressive shredding's over. Let's go over to imposing presence. This is intimidation effect, but a little bit. Yeah, this is the generic intimidation talent, but put onto ETC. You have an active and a passive component. Passively, if you get right-clicked by an enemy hero or summon, they will have their attack speed slowed by 20% when they attack you. You also can activate it. It's free to do so. It's 20-second cooldown, so it's nothing. You reduce the attack speed of everything of every hero and summon around you by 50%. Big deal. And you also reduce their movement speed by 20%, which is something the passive component cannot. And ETC doesn't have slows either way, so this is something that's new to him. In my opinion, if you're fighting any heroes that have any reliance on their right clicks to do anything, they don't have to hit hard. They don't have to do that, but they could have effects that require them to do right clicks to get the most benefit out of. You'll find that the attack speed malice is really good. Honestly, like just eliminating the fact that they can right click is a big deal. And when you're stacking your full health bar on a tank plus armor plus block party, reducing the attack speed just goes way further because of that. Damaomao, what's your thoughts on imposing presence?
Yeah, even though Show Stomper it's what I pick usually just to survive a little bit better. But if the enemy team have really good auto attacker like Zujin that have to focus down the tank first, I pick this and it doesn't like I say there's no flashy graphics, but they feel it more than you do.
Yeah.
Especially against the hero that needs to stutter step between their auto attack, messing up their auto attack speed and movement speed will for sure make them miss a couple autos in the beginning to get used to the new effects, and then the effect's over. They have to readjust one more time. Like, between the moving speed slow and attack speed slow, you will confuse a lot of people for sure.
Big time. So true what you said. As you're scoring yourself bonus health by the fact that you're forcing the enemy team just missing those right clicks. Big deal.
Yeah, and I like to pick this into Zujin, into Tyrande that relies on auto attacking the front line or something
Yes.
to refresh their healing. You will mess up their healing tempo as well. And also, I love to pick this into Zagara when they put their summons, because this not just work on heroic units, it also work on summons. So any Ultralisk, any Hydralisk that's put on me will attack much slower, and especially after they get their percentage damage, this will save me a lot of health.
Great point. I remember that point you made about Zagara, and I was very impressed by it because that is a very legitimate example of summons doing a lot of right clicks that are dangerous to the tank as well, and that will focus him down. So I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. But yeah, great point about Tyrande as well. That's what I was describing, that when you reduce the attack speed, you reduce things associated with the attacks. And in this case, you're reducing the healing output of the enemy team.
Yeah.
Goes hard.
Yeah, I low-key like this talent. Just the 35 armor from the showstopper, it's more useful if the enemy team are all mages and like not good attackers, but I will definitely pick imposing presence if they do have a couple good auto attackers or just heavy hitters.
Totally. And there's more of them in the game than you might anticipate. Until you go on a round playing all of them, you'll realize just how widespreading it is. But yeah, any last thoughts about 16?
No, I think we're good. Really simple level 16s.
I do agree. A nice appetizer for the much more intriguing level 20s. There's a lot to talk about here. Torbus. So Torbus is as follows. When you cast your Mosh Pit, you will refresh the cooldown of your Power Slide if it was on cooldown. And if you're Mosh Pitting, you can activate Power Slide to slide with the Mosh Pit. And it also increases the duration by 2 seconds. Damaomao, please take it from here. Send me on a tour.
Torbus, it's the most fun talents to pick, and it also provides the most function to the E.T.C at level 20. It just you like you said earlier, sometimes the enemy team have a dedicated CC saved just for my mosh pit in the backline, or like they have some safe ways to prevent me from engaging onto them after I slide in. The Torbus just give me a surprise factor that I can either move away from their CC targeted CC to continue make another party dance, or I can use the refresh the queue to follow up even if I got interrupted.
Lets you it lets you honestly, I got nothing to say that's gonna improve what you already said, Mr. Damaomao. Yeah, it lets you refresh the slide and go on to a new party to prevent them from stopping the mosh pit channel. So in a way, this is disguised as a, hey, your mosh pit's percentage of working out goes higher, which is not on the tin can, but it's in effect what happens.
Yeah, especially the second part of the slide. As long as your mosh pit is still going, the second part of the slide, if you use your key again, it's not just the range of the width of the queue anymore. It's the width of the entire mosh circle. So you don't even have to aim towards the enemy. You can aim under their feet a little bit farther away, especially if they have a traveling CC like a mind control or a sleep dart or Rainer's Q push. You can slide at an angle where you reach them besides them, but not facing them, so they have a harder time aiming for you to interrupt you.
Yeah, huge flex on the enemy. Goodness.
Yeah, it doesn't work too well with Li Ming's wave of force. That one's like a giant circle they can just put on you, so you will still interrupt you mid slide. But all the like a narrow line skill shot where they
Mm-hmm.
think they will interrupt you so easily, or like a Tyrande Moonfire. No, what's the
Yeah, I think
stun?
it's Moonflare. Yeah.
Tyrande stun. Yeah, yeah. You can just bait them into using all their stuff, but you already moved away.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're the one dancing. You just have to remember, be careful not to move away from another target that also have CC ready for you to
Mm-hmm.
interrupt your mosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess that's all there is to say from my side of things. I remember you said something about you would slide, so you would mosh pit, and then you would slide into the wall to kind of like utilize the fact that the slide doesn't go over the wall, but you can use it to propel yourself in an unexpected angle. And
Yeah, as long as you don't have
yeah.
crossover at level 4, which makes you go over the entire wall. You can angle straight towards the wall or in like a weird curved path where your Q doesn't travel far at all. Will keep most of the enemies in your mosh pit for the full extended duration as well, without going anywhere. It's doable, but it is you still move a little bit, so some people
Mm-hmm.
might get push left behind without the mosh area.
Mm-hmm. And the way
And
that
also,
you.
it works really well. It works
Mm-hmm.
really well as a surprise factor to bait out those assassins that will jump around. Like you slide in towards them, you miss the mosh, and they get greedy. They run around you or come back in, and you can use the second part of the mosh. As long as one of their hair touches the mosh area, they're
Mm-hmm.
dancing for the
Yeah.
full duration again. Yeah.
Big time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there? How often do you pick up Tour Bus as your level 20 option?
Very often, very often, this is my go-to. Just because even if it just makes him, even if like let's say the enemy is really good at interrupting your march the whole game. Like the moment you cast it, something is coming. You either juke it with a tour bus, or even if you get interrupted right away, you get your Q refreshed already. So it's you get
Mm-hmm.
another stun on the target you just stunned. So it's like
True.
2.5 second stun. It's pretty much a mosh, a mini mosh already. Yeah.
True. Very true. Big brain plays from that. Hmm. Infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
Obviously,
There's just
dream.
one game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What's we got? Obviously, the dream scenario is you slide in, you mosh pit, you catch a bunch of people. They ideally die instantly, and then you tour bus into the next group of players, and then you get maximum value out of that. That is obviously the best case scenario for tour bus, and if your team has enough AoE like splash damage, say Jaina, for example, with Ring of Frost is a great example, where she could delete your targets that you moshed, and then you get to reposition afterwards. But aside from that, yeah, there is so much flexibility with tour bus that you can freely dive onto a new party, especially if you bait, say, a less important group of people, and then suddenly you tour bus back into the squishy backline like healers and ranged assassins. That could be a big deal. Much bigger
Yeah,
deal
most
than.
people, when they see their teammates start dancing, they will either try to CC me or attack me. But with the second part of the slide, you just catch them off guard. Now they're the one that's in the mosh pit. Especially Anduin Pool. He think he's saving his teammates, but then they are just also invited to the party now. Everybody's
Giga
dancing, having
brain.
a good time.
Yeah, goodness me. It's crazy. Hmm. But yeah, that is all I got to say about tour bus. Anything you got more to say?
I just remember a game that we barely won a couple weeks ago. Just
Mm-hmm.
we only won it because of Torbus. They have the enemy team have a Johanna that pick a Fallen Swords, which is cleansing everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching the whole game, so I just think to myself, I have to go Torbus, and then so I march two of their DPS backline, and then of course Johanna started floating to the sky and cleansing everyone. Just right before she fell and stung me, I sliced again, and now everybody's dancing still, and that's how we won. That's how we won the game. That was really
Hell
memorable
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, that is adrenaline pumping. Got all eyes on you after completely smurfing on the enemy Joanna. Yeah, that's tour bus for you. Moving on to crowd pleaser, perhaps. Yes. Stage
Yeah.
dives impact area is 50% bigger, and its slow is increased by 30%. Stage dive is unless you're targeting someone directly on their heads and they have no way to get out, it will usually connect, and it's a pretty big deal when it does connect. I'd say there's lots of opportunities that the enemy team just walks out of the radius and suddenly you don't get as much value. Crowd pleaser just puts a stop to that. Like the radius is so big that once they see the circle, it's too late. It's not possible for them to get out unless they use a very quick moving dash. And if you're targeting the backline, which is something you should be doing, considering that you have global reach, whatever you want to choose, you could choose that. If you dive on a Tassadar, there's no way he's getting out. And then it's an 80% slow on top of that for 4 seconds, which is probably the strongest slow in the game. I don't think there's anything stronger than that. It is extremely debilitating. If your team just collapses in on afterwards, like it's crazy results.
Yeah, during a fight, this pretty much affect the entire enemy team as long as you aim. You don't even have to aim it correctly. Like you just click in their general direction, the
Yeah.
whole screen will be covered.
Exactly. And yeah, this is the Thrall Earthquake on steroids, like big time. And the words cannot overstate. Sometimes, obviously a mosh pit is going to win you the game, but applying a 4-second slow that they can't really interact with is a big deal.
Yeah, the weakness of the base stage dive is like we say, they can walk out of the circle, and then they can put all their crowd control and damage at the center of the target you just put on the ground. But with this bigger stage dive, like yeah, they can focus you and CC you, but by that point, 80% slow for 4 seconds, their problem is not you anymore. Like their problem is the rest of the team jumping onto them.
Yeah.
He also does a great deal of damage, like even base damage. Yeah, this is scary.
That's high, like I think, was it 300 damage?
Yeah, a little bit more, I think.
330, yeah. That making sure that you hit everybody does help a lot. And big number goes big, it does do good burst damage. If you're fighting a backline heavy team that doesn't want to get encroached upon, say you're fighting an Ana, Tastar, Sergeant Hammer, all these heroes, Crowd Pleaser is such a knockout. It's crazy. Very strong upgrade. Makes stage dive go from a pretty decent A grade ultimate to straight bonkers S+.
Yeah, and I think I forgot to mention it earlier. Doing the base stage dive, we can if you have a pretty good team on comps, it works well with the undoing light bomb. You can it can work with undoing light bomb as well. It doesn't work as flashy as a Johanna's fallen sword light bomb, where she can still chase and change directions. But if they put a light bomb on you the moment you raise your hand into your guitar into the sky, and you will still stun them without them. The moment the target shows up on the ground, they will get stunned in the center, and then you will land on them. It's
For
doable,
real.
yeah.
You got that holy cow coming in from the heavens, and then everybody can only look in on awe.
Exactly.
Prepare for my arrival, worm. But
yeah, especially stage dive doesn't need vision to be cast. A lot of global movement skills, you need vision to land, like a death swing landing or anything, something like that. This one you can just click, like check a boss, like gank a camp. Yeah, it's really with the 50% increase area and the slow is it's really scary to their backline.
Absolutely. Alrighty, that is Crowd Pleaser. No more to say about it.
Yeah.
Death metal. Upon dying, a ghost uses a mosh pit at E.T.C's location. Um, kind of like it, kind of don't like it. I, on principle, kind of dislike talents that require a hero to die because these are usually clustered around level 20 talent, and level 20 is not the it is not the talent tier or the level, I should say, that you want to die at because death timers are super long. It could cause you to lose a lot of other things if that happens. But death metal is a pretty strong effect because, unlike baseline mosh pit, it is an uninterruptible ghost. It is not possible to stop E.T.C unless you cleanse the teammates. So that is a strong boon to it. And plus, it's also just a second mosh pit. If you full channel the first mosh pit, or you die, or you get interrupted, here's a second mosh pit, which is something to note. What do you think about death metal?
Yeah, also you don't need to pick base mosh pit to pick this. This is a
True.
built-in death effect no matter what other talents you pick throughout the game.
Mm.
So you
You could
can
be.
stage dive in suicide into their backline and then make them dance.
Exactly. Well, I guess that makes it another really strong boss. A boss
I
capture
was
point kind
thinking
of
that
thing.
too. Yeah, just stand there until you die. But
Damn, that's hilarious as
yeah,
hell.
but in general, like you said, this is a for fun. This is for fun talent. Oh, you're definitely gonna lose to it from time to time. But as the role of a main tank, your job is to not die, to either engage or appear your team without dying throughout the late game because the dice timer is just too long. Even even if your team can like trades evenly after you die, or like on the higher level teams, there nobody's gonna step into your death
Yeah.
circle after when you're close to dying. Yeah.
Very true. Death metal is one of the scariest level 20s. People will call it out when they see it on the scoreboard. Like, guys, ETC picked up death metal. Don't stand near him. And everybody's going to have that fear at the back of their mind. So it doesn't work against high ranked opponents. This is one thing you got to keep in mind as often. But it still catches some people off, and I think it still scores value. I'm pretty happy if a ETC picks up death metal because I feel like something's gonna happen, and I'm gonna keep my eyes open for it. But yeah, it's if you're the one piloting ETC, you have the opportunity of picking another level 20, and I think it'll, on average, give you the necessary value that edges out a win compared to a death metal.
Yeah, I think the moment you pick death metal, it's unless the enemy team are really great at focusing you down. By that point, they're probably not stepping in the circle still. But
Mm-hmm.
if, like for me, picking death metal at level 20, it's like picking divine palm with a monk and then keep suiciding into the enemy team just
Yeah.
because you have the palm for yourself up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You gotta be careful not to bait yourself into killing yourself just for death metal onto one or zero people.
Yeah, like you could have lived the fights, but just because you have death metal in the back of your mind,
Mm-hmm.
you stay a little bit longer, waste another resource healing from your healer, and then
Mm-hmm.
you still choose to die. And as
Yep.
long as your team is super coordinated, and most people, when they see their tank is at 10% HP and still walking forward, they will start backing off and take
Yep.
the loss.
Does look very sus, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is death metal in a nutshell. I know Tenkai is a big fan of it, so and I know he's gonna cause value out of it because he does go YOLO all the time. So, but he makes it work, and because of that, I cannot knock against it. I'm afraid EDs, wet EDs.
Yeah. Compared to another level 20 talents, this one's risk is just too high. The reward is fabulous, but the risk of you dying and getting no
Mm-hmm.
value, and then your death timer is 80 seconds, 60 seconds. It's too
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
I agree with you. That is the synopsis of it. And generally speaking, your other level 20s have ways of making your mosh pit better or gives you some other effect that might be attractive to you. Death metal is the miracle play. Generally speaking, miracle plays are not the way to go unless you really do identify that the game is going to give you that feeling that it's going to give you the miracle.
Yeah, if you're level 20 and then the enemy team is gonna end the game with the next boss capture, they give this a
Yeah,
try. Maybe, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah,
just
yeah.
stand
I
on the
agree.
points.
Until the bitter end. And yeah, I say let's move on to Power of the Horde. Unlike your other Mosh-related talent trees, so to say, you got something that's not. On a 45 seconds cooldown, you have a superior storm shield. You activate it, you give everybody around you a big fat percentage health shield. And it increases it by 2% for each other allied hero. So the more your team clumps, the more they hold hands, the bigger the shield. And you're also just giving everybody shields. So 38% maximum health as shielding on all 5 members of your team. Pretty big deal. What do you think about Power of the Horde?
Oh yeah, I picked it up from time to times when my team is really struggling with either their backline assassin divers or a wombo combo that will keep eating, or if they have a lot of poison AoE damage that our
Mm-hmm.
healers needs some help to keep up with. This really the number on this, it's a simple talent, but the numbers are great.
Mm-hmm. 38% is no joke. And at the end game, that's like what? Probably easy 1600 health on a 3000 health target. Big deal. Actually, no, it's probably
Hmm.
like 1300, but that's still a very high percentage, and it will absolutely save a guy from a bind.
No,
I,
exactly.
I don't know how good it would be, saving one person. Each life does matter at level 20, but if you're taking a lot of AoE damage from the wombo combos, this could potentially prevent that from being lethal.
Yeah, like you said, level 20, each teammate's life, it's really important. So I'll take this for to save to
Yeah.
save one guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. Yeah.
I totally agree. It's perfectly fine if you save one person. Yeah, power to
Yeah.
horde. Quite cool. Got no more to comment on it as it's a pretty simplistic ability. Do you want to go into
Yeah.
Ride the Lightning?
Yeah.
Very good. Bolt of the Storm on a 70-second cooldown. Activate to teleport to a nearby location. Range is 7.2 if you're wondering, so it's a little bit longer than most people's right-click range. And you deal a tiny bit of damage to nearby enemy heroes. This tiny bit of damage will reduce the cooldown of the blink by 10 seconds for each enemy hero hit, up to a 50-second discount. Ride the Lightning is your for an E.T.C, having the ability to blink anywhere he wants instantaneously, and then sliding, or mosh pitting, or face melting has a lot of value. Damaomao, what do you think?
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is definitely a great choice for ETC, especially his base kit. It's really scary. The only way people to stay safe is stay away from him. This just give them the surprise gap closer that they're not ready for. It can come from any direction. It can come from behind the walls instead of the crowd surfer. Yeah, you just give him the mobility people don't expect from getting used to the Q range the whole entire throughout the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And with Ride the Lightning, one time I was playing Alteric Pass. I was playing ETC of all things, and I was fighting Polly Pocket. And we managed to win the boss fights down on bot lane. So we're fighting now. We're fighting at their keep. I saw an opportunity that I saw Polly Pocket, Zartos, and Caparoni in a line, and they're trying to fall back, like they're right underneath the forts. I'm out of range, but I had Ride the Lightning, so I blink in and I instantly power slid on them, and we got the kills. I think we killed all 3, no matter what. But that was a game-winning blink plus slide combo, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not possible to do it without an immediate blink because people are going to give ETC a respectable distance so that they don't get power slid on. Ride the Lightning, just if you have it ready to go, and it's not always easy to keep track of what the cooldown is exactly because again, this has a cooldown reducing effect, so it's going to come out more often than you think. There's always that chance that the ETC just decides to send it and then he goes on top of you, and it's impossible to react to.
Oh yeah, like the blink have no visual effect, no only a little sound effects, and it's instant.
Yeah,
So there's no
it's too late.
reaction time
Hmm.
unless you predict it and like precast. But that by that point, it's just a
Yeah,
guessing game. Yeah.
it really is. And as a novice, personally, in my opinion, from my experience, I struggle with mobility type spells because it dramatically increases the range of possibilities you could take on a hero, so it makes them more complex. And this increased complexity gives me a little bit of hesitancy to do my things, whatever it was before. Which is why I like mobility less heroes like Jaina and Ragnaros. Like, hey, if all I have to do is just run quick, that's it. I'm super happy with it. But if I'm playing Genji, like, I fumble hard. Even if I could do anything I wanted, I still fumble. In my book, if you're E.T.C, you already have a lot of possibility. Like, there's a lot of possibilities brimming in your mind at all times. Sliding especially. But with Ride the Lightning, if you're new to E.T.C, you might struggle a little bit with your blink initially, because you don't know when is it a good time to blink in and give the stun to the whole enemy team. You might not recognize the opportunity when it comes. So if possible, give it a try here and there, but try your other level 20s and organically develop your skill in ETC, like in a straightforward circumstance. And then when you get good at that, you're going to come back to it and be like, oh, I wish I had a blink at this point. Your mind is going to accumulate these thoughts, and at some points in the future, you'll be comfortable enough with ETC that you'll pick up the blink, and you'll be ready to do what it was you were missing out on.
Yeah, especially most heroes that had blink in the past got their blink removed. So he's the only few ones that still have it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember anyone else that have blink in their kits
Uh,
anymore.
there's quite a few heroes still. Jaina, Kerrigan,
Ah,
Thrall,
right.
Butcher, Illidan. It's mostly condensed on the melee assassins.
Melee assassins, yeah.
Yeah.
But back then, everybody's level 20 is a blink.
Yeah. Goodness me.
Uh,
Good thing
yeah,
we're not
but
dealing with
yeah,
that.
right. Yeah. So the most useful part is the blink itself. Don't worry about the damage or the cooldown reduction too much. This is just a bonus. Like, it's not reliable at all. You're not gonna finish elf. You're not gonna finish
Yeah.
anything with the 48 damage tick, or
No.
the mostly you're gonna only get like 10 to 20 second cooldown reduction. You're never gonna get a full 50
Yeah.
unless a miracle happens. Yeah. So don't stress about the damage or the cooldown reduction. Just use it as a surprise factor to blink into position.
Totally. I was speaking with Zenroth, and he said that if you blink into an enemy team so that you get the most amount of cooldown reduction from Revive the Lightning, it's probably in the middle of the enemy team. And if you blink into the middle of the enemy team, you can't power slide all of them. So either you get full Ride the Lightning cooldown reduction value, or you get full slide value and partial Ride the Lightning value. Or, a partial slide and full blink value. So you have to make a decision. But of the two, you always do blink and then full slide value. Because if you stun 5 heroes, who cares if you get a 10-second cooldown reduction off your next blink? I mean, if the fight gets decided here and now, you're not going to live to see the 20-second difference margin. You're going to live to see the difference of 1.25 seconds stun. And then that could lead into a mush.
Exactly. Yeah, especially the situation where I feel like I need a Ride the Lightning. It's where I'm not blinking into the enemy team as a group.
Yeah.
Like I usually pick this when the enemy team have a really easy time focusing me down. Like if they have like say like a gorge teleport combo, or they have a really skilled KTZ that always chains me, or like a garage throw me into behind the walls or something like that. The moment the KTZ put a chain on me and put the ice pillar up, I know I have to get out of there, or else I'll die and my team will lose the fight.
Yeah.
So that's the first situation I needed. And then
no shame in saving yourself. Absolutely no shame. Keep yourself alive.
Yeah, no shame for the 70-second cooldown if you're gonna stay alive for the next fight. Yeah.
Totally. Continue.
Oh, and the second situation where I need this is when the enemy team's range significantly outrange our team the whole game. Like they have like Chromie, they have like a really good Tracer, they have a really annoying Zero two. Like the whole game they're dancing around us, but I couldn't reach them. this will give us the edge that I know if I just land one stone or one mosh on their key target, they will lose the fight and lose the hero. Like, this is what I have to take to reach them.
My thoughts exactly in that game I mentioned. You got Omega high priority targets, but there's just no reach for you to get in unless you got stage dive. But that comes for granted, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. How often do you ride a lightning into an instant mosh pit?
Rarely, but it does happen. But it never happens as initiation of the fights. It usually happen during the chaos of the fights, where everybody's used up their skills already and they're all running around, either retreating or chasing. This become like a naked blink mosh will become much more easier to land than in the beginning of the fight, where everybody have everything ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, Damaomao, I got a crazy idea.
Go ahead.
You're probably gonna kill me for saying this cursed talent once more, but crowd surfer over the wall, and then you instantly blink onto the enemy team afterwards into a mosh pit.
Yeah, we can try it.
Ninja E.T.C.
Yeah, we play this next Halloween with the it's a spooky team comp. Yeah.
Put it onto like I don't know, the ghost skeleton, and then
Yeah, give me a Tyrande stealth ultimate art.
Oh my god, dude,
ghost,
we got
ghost cow.
Exactly. We need to do a I don't know, E.T.C slide and then Tyrande stun, and then we have to do an ambush with it. That's gonna be so peak if we pull it off.
Yeah, definitely.
That is that was my 2 cents bargain idea. I hope to God nobody tries it out. If they do, please credit me. I'm gonna take the credit, but I'm not gonna take the credit if you fail your mosh pit and kill your team. So don't at me.
Yeah, but this talent is really useful when the situation calls for it. And
Totally.
Just be careful when you blink forward the full range, and then if you're like really try to engage on someone, just make sure your team is all in position to follow, because after the blink, after the slides, you're so far away from your teammates, like they might not be able to follow up your engage.
Exactly. Keep one eye on that. Like you said, no. I guess not. The most opportunistic times where it's very obvious where you want to blink is, like you say, it's when you're not in a chaotic team fight, because anything goes in a chaotic team fight. Another thing you could do, you could technically blink to the side and then do a very favorable power slide angle. Generally speaking, power sliding straight forward is the only thing you can do as E.T.C, and the enemy team is not going to clump because of that. So they might do something like a curved T shape, for example, but you could totally blink to the side and then slide all over them, especially so in like a tight corridor, and it can be very devastating.
Especially even though it is E.T.C is most scary when he slides forward and puts the enemy between you and your teammates. Most of the time you want to slide at a little bit of the angle, so you're not straight into the enemy team as well. Like from side to side slide, it's usually favorable than straight head-on slides if the enemy team also have a lot of damage to focus you.
Very good point. I tend to get more success out of like a sideways slide, and I completely forgot to mention that. So great tip there as well.
Yeah, just remember to reposition a little bit before you use your face melt. Just like walk a couple steps before you push them in the direction you're intended. If you're sliding from side to side, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alrighty, and with that, I think the 20s are fully covered. When would you pick each talent?
I think there's only 2 paths early on for E.T.C. You either go the auto attack, self-sustain, good sustain damage build with Guitar Hero.
I meant level 20 options.
Oh, sorry. Oh, my bad. Level 20. Oh, yeah. So tour bus, most of the game. It's just the surprise factor and the usefulness of refreshing on your queue just provides a lot of value and surprises for the enemy team.
Mm-hmm.
Crowd pleaser. If you already have stage dive, this is a no-brainer. Like they just make scary talents much more scary if it's already working for your team, or if you're already needs to cover the side lanes. This just make the coming back much more glorious.
Yes.
And then death metal, if they have a really easy time picking you off and focusing you down, and they also have a lot of melee champions, heroes. This will be like a miracle turn back talents for your team, but as long as your teams are ready to fight after you die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then power of the hordes, when yourself it's not in so much danger, but your teams are eating a lot of wombo combos or poison area of effect damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that they just need a little help to survive the initial burst, and then your healer should be able to pick up the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Red Lightning, like I said, they have a really great chain CC focus to take you down, or they have really annoying range blinking heroes that needs this surprise blink to follow up to follow after them to reach them.
Yes, sir. Lovely. What else? What else? I guess, yeah, that basically covers it. Each talent provides their own tool for each circumstance. So read the room on what it is you're struggling with most, and give one thought to other level 20s on what could be best, and go from there.
Yeah, I will say all his level 20 are useful after situations. But yeah,
They each have their own purpose, and honestly, it's kind of hard to go wrong with E.T.C level 20s. They're all very strong. You're probably going to get some value out of them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty, and with that, that concludes the talents overexplained. Let's do a very quick discussion about E.T.C talent builds. So let's go to E.T.C here. Give me your favorite talent build? Like what kind of talent builds we do on E.T.C?
Yeah, I think my favorite one is the one that's gonna work the best for yourself in general, like in a quick match game or just in like a purely survival games. I go Proc Rock level 1 and just make sure you grab all the globes, you fight for their globes as well, push them off their globes and fight for it. Yeah, and then loudspeaker, like scary, big circle get bigger. And then Paintball Wizard for the burst and the wave clear. And then Mosh Pit just for the pressure, even if harder to use into the enemy team. And Encore to mess up the timing and get value back during the fights. And Show Stomper, make myself even tankier during the initial engages. And then Torbust for the surprise and flashy double Mosh Pit plays.
Certified Damaomao Classic.
Yeah, and besides that, I think another one is just the auto attack. Whichever situation you see is good for auto attacks, I think the self-healing auto attack sustained damage build is another path you can go down to.
Do agree. I will say, would you say that E.T.C has so much talents of variety that there's no like set build for him?
Yeah, I don't even have any presets talent pass on my account for E.T.C. Every time I go into a game, I log into the game, I just start seeing which map we got, which enemy team comp we have, and what does our team needs. And then I pick the talent accordingly. Even sometimes mixing them up all works, and like especially after level 10, I think you can mix them up really to great effect.
Totally. That's kind of like that's the fun of over-explaining talents and going into talent theories, that every time you're engaging with a unique, the game's always going to be throwing you unique comps and situations, so there's always something different you could do. having a new opportunity to pick different talents every single level feels very fun because you're thinking about the game proactively, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I'm right here thinking if the team comes allowed, like if I'm not the only Souls frontline tank for the
Mm-hmm.
team, I probably try a game with Block Party at level 1, Speed Metal, and then the slow at level 16,
Mm-hmm.
level 13, just like a purely support buffing ETC,
Yeah,
where I don't even slide forward the whole game, just use my skills to buff my whole team, see how it
true.
goes.
With me, like I already kind of consigned the fact that ETC is not as big of a tank as other tanks, so I always had like a slightly supporty type build, and that's kind of what I lean towards. Yeah, it's mediocre results, but I'm definitely going to give your build a try. See how that goes.
Yeah, just mostly it come down to tracking the enemy's cooldown to know when it's time to go in, when it's time to leave, and
Mm-hmm.
then position yourself so they waste their precious crowd control or skill shots either
Mm-hmm.
hitting only you or missing everything.
Exactly. Alrighty. With that, that's basically all the talents. I don't think there's anything more to say now.
Yeah, last time we went briefly when like team comps that he
I
likes,
guess.
or
Yeah, let's dedicate 5 minutes to that. As
yeah,
ETC, what are you happiest to see on your team?
a healthy HP pool for across the entire team, where I
Mm-hmm.
know if I go in and leave them alone, they are not gonna melt under a assassin in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Also, any follow up that's consistent where the target I slice in dies. The worst thing that can happen to a ETC tank or just in tank main in general is the target you engage on never dies. Um, you
Mm-hmm.
toss anyone into your team, you mosh 3 to 4 people, and they all walk away freely. After a couple
Mm-hmm.
seconds, after a couple times, you just lose faith in your
Yeah,
engages, and then you play from the back foot. Then,
for real, for real.
so anything that any teammates or any heroes that burst down the target you slide in, like a KT or like a Tychus that do percentage damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just no matter what you slice, they're probably gonna die or close to dying by the time you finish pushing them around.
Mm-hmm. I do agree.
Yeah,
Do you play
yeah.
for wombo combos?
Um, harder. Like I said, ETC is really not too synergistic with skill shot heroes. Most of the wombo combos are skill shots. The only good combos I like with the healer is Anduin's light bomb. Like they, if
Mm-hmm.
a good Anduin will know how to time their light bomb, so when the Moshes ends, there will be a light bomb to follow. So the M
Mm-hmm.
team will lock down for 6 seconds no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spooky. Very
Yeah, so
nice.
any follow up, like we discussed earlier, after his Q and pushes, there's no another slows or any other skills I can keep the enemy within our team. So
Mm-hmm.
any follow up stuns or preferably they just die by the time I finish my combo.
Yeah,
But yeah, any follow up CC is also appreciated.
big time. With no extra slowing on ETC's abilities. If you don't score the kill from the stun, it gets kind of hard after that.
Yeah. And any cleanses or anything that can help me get out of the sticky situation after I miss my slide or after engage when the enemy team turn all their firepower towards me.
Mm-hmm.
Any cleanse, any get out of jail free card, Medivh portal, Anduin pool, all great helps. Yeah.
Big time. I do agree. One time I saw a white main combo. I don't think it was you per se. It was probably you, to be honest. You're mosh pitting, and then suddenly white main drops her level 20 drag everybody, and then she puts it on the edge of the mosh pit. And then if somebody comes and touches the circle, they instantly get dragged into the mosh pit.
Now that you mentioned it, we just had a completely opposite situation that backfired so hard, and we team wipe. We didn't lose the game, but we team wipe because the white main
Oh.
pull everyone out of my mosh pit, and the butcher chained Lamp of Slaughter our whole team while we're dancing.
Ooh, yikes! Goodness
Yeah,
me.
but yeah. Either way, either situation might happen, but that was my nightmare recently. Yeah.
Got you. Be careful with that one. It could go either way. My. Yeah, I like it. So, moral of the story: follow up CC, a little bit of durability across the team. Burst damage is probably better than sustained damage. What else? What else? What else? Kind of it, really. You could also angle for
Yeah.
wombo combos and the cleanses, but yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody enjoys that.
Yeah, like just because engages or disengages, ETC can only do one of them at a time. It's really hard to engage on some key target and then peeling for your team because you're so far away from the team
Yeah,
already.
exactly.
So the team really have to survive whatever the enemies to throw at them if I'm going in for engage.
Totally. Well then, team comps are done, talent bids are done, all talents are done, and the abilities are done. Damaomao, I think we've come to our conclusion here.
I think we're good.
Think we're good. Ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen,
if he's
ooh,
go ahead.
please continue.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead
Fair
and
enough.
outro.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been TheFreind, and this has been Damaomao. It's been a great pleasure having you listening to this podcast of us yapping about ETC talents for probably 2.5 hours straight. Damaomao, what else do you have to say?
Oh, thank you for having me here, and yeah, I hope everyone give ETC a try, and just don't be afraid to miss a couple match and make your teammate miss half of your skill shots. It's you have to get used to it eventually, and
Yeah,
yeah, and one day you will land a 5-man mosh pit, and your team will praise you for it. So yeah, don't
exactly.
be afraid to try.
Each mistake makes you stronger, and each mistake gives you hope that it's going to be even better next time. And it will be, because you practice.
Exactly.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much for coming down. Catch you guys later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.